pissing, I'm a who that.
I'm a who that.
Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like pissing, I'm a who that.
I'm a who that.
Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
Where we do that.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Bugging like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Welcome. You're now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to the fam. Appreciate y'all for being in this episode of the Coma. Much love. Let's give you guys a round of applause, man. Big shout out. Shout out to the fam, man. That's right. I celebrate the Who Dat Nation. I celebrate you guys. I hope you had a great celebration this past few days, man. After the 4th, I hope you got your boogie on. I hope you got your eat on. I hope you got whatever you feel that you needed to get on to kind of relax and chill, man, on this on the 4th and other things popping for the fam. So much love to you guys. Appreciate y'all joining me for this Wednesday stream, and much love to the fam. Now, in this one, fam, this stream's called Top Position Battles Headed into the Saints Training Camp. Shout out to the Saints News Network. They churning out some good articles, and I cover some of the really good ones. I really do love covering some of the best ideas. So we get some ideas that we talk about in the Great Saint Think Tank. There's a lot of great family members have some really great ideas. But going into the season, as we're getting ready, I think it's July the 27th, as we get creeping. Now listen, this is going to be a very good month for sports for a lot of the New Orleans faithful. We're talking the Pelicans Summer League stuff kick off on July the 7th. That goes several games, about several days down the line, about a week or so. And then after that, you got one of the best fights that I've been waiting for several years. Me and rest in power to my brother, Eddie Too Mean Johnson, who was the co-host and co-creator of Ring Kings Boxing. That's also one of our boxing platforms we've been doing for a very long time. Me and him talked about that for years. So rest in power to my brother. He passed away a couple years ago due to C19. And I've been carrying on that Ring Kings Boxing legacy in his name. And we always talked about that Errol Spence and Bud Crawford matchup that's coming up later on in the month. Can't wait for that one, man. That's going to be spectacular. And there's several other things going on, but then the Saints kick off in late July as people start rolling it in. And as we know, man, it's going to be fun going forward. So shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate you guys being with me in this stream. Shout out to everybody, man. JT, Dana, Roll, good to see y'all. Elite, I see your brother Eric. Kevin, good to see you in there as well. OG Jerry, always in the building. Shout out to my brother OG. Brother Tedra is in this thing as well. Good to see you as well, sir. Brother Quavadius is in this thing. Shout out to you, fam. True Hurt, shout out to you, my friend. Appreciate all y'all, man. Much love. Please feel free to hit the like button for your boy, man, as we get going. Bronze Flat Power God, shout out to you, fam. Appreciate you as well. Teflon Don, I see you, fam. Much love to you. Brother Molly Mall is in this thing. Reginald, good to see you as well. Shout out. Cheryl, what's happening, baby? Shout out to you as well. Appreciate every last one of y'all, man, for being up in this thing. You know, I appreciate y'all, man. That's why I give y'all shots out all the time. King Chosen, when I see you, fam, appreciate you being in the stream. And all the family members that's not just hitting in the chat, just listening, man. Shout out to all y'all. Y'all know how we do. All right, so yeah, there you go. Okay, appreciate you, Mr. Who Dat. Shout out to you, brother. All right, so anyway, let's get ready to get into this one, man, because this is a very interesting article. And then, of course, family, if you have, okay, True Her says I got Errol Spence winning that fight. Okay, man. Hey, listen, bro. I used to box when I was younger. Love the sport, love it as much as I love football. I played football when I was younger. I boxed when I was younger. So my love of football and football and boxing, that is, are really at the same line, man. So when we get really good fights, especially in the welterweight division, when we talking, this will be the first time in the 4-belt era that you'll see because we already got unified champion Errol Spence. He has multiple belts. But you'll see an undisputed welterweight champion. That is going to be huge. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be big. I can't. And of course, they're going to fight twice this year. So that's something we talk about on the Ring Kings Boxing, man. I love it. Anyway, Josh, shout out to you, man. Tuck Graph, shout out to you, fam. Says signing in on Hump Day. Okay, appreciate you, my friend. Always good. All right, so in this one, man, we're going to talk about some of the top position battles for training camp. And I know you guys are already throwing the Alontae Taylor. There you go. Dana dropped it. Adebo and Alontae Taylor. Yes. A lot of people kind of sleeping on Paulson Adebo because he went through his sophomore slump, but don't sleep on Paulson Adebo. Please don't. Even though Alontae Taylor is awesome. Don't sleep on Paulson Adebo, man. Remember when he first came out, they were kind of have comparisons to Richard Sherman. That first year he came out, he looked really good in the Saints secondary. Second year, he struggled a bit. Didn't look as crisp, but that was his sophomore year. This third year, expect Paulson Adebo. He's a guy that's an attention to detail type guy. So we expecting big things out of him. So let's jump right into this article. Shout out to my friends at the Saints News Network. We're going to see. But yeah, JT said he think it's going to go the distance. That fight, man, listen, I can't say enough about that fight. I can't, for my boxing people in here, I can't say enough about that. Is a classic 50-50 fight. That is a classic 50-50 fight. That's all I'm going to say. But the really good part of it is they signed a deal where they'll have 2 fights this year. 2 fights. I said before any of this got going on years ago that it'll be a triple fight deal. I think this will be a phenomenal 3 fights or 2 fights between the 2. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a draw the first fight, the second fight. I'm telling you, man, it's going to be big. But anyway, let's talk football. Let's talk Saints football, baby. Let's talk it. Top position battles for the Saints. Training camp. What are the top position battles that we're looking forward to see in training camp moving forward? So we talked about the Alontae Taylor one. We're going to talk about several other ones that'll be intriguing and interesting as well. Now, the Saints will have their rookies report starting on July the 18th with the veterans set to join them a week later. That means camp will officially start July the 26th. Okay, so there you go. We couldn't be more excited recently. The 25 question. Now, that was a good one. We covered that on the last stream. 25 really good questions, and I had to give, I think that was John. He did that one. John Hendricks. He did a magnificent job with the 25 questions going into the Saints camp. I don't know if he came up as a Saints person, but that was really, really, really great questions. 25 real. I built the whole show around those questions because I'm like, man, I was answering a lot of the questions, but a lot of the questions I was like, we're going to have to wait and see because they were that good, man. They were that damn good. All right, so what are the top position battles for the Saints training camp? Undoubtedly explore this more in depth as we get closer to training camp. There's a few areas that feel like they have a lot more eyes on them than others. We know that. So let's look at some of them. We're going to start off with the wide receiver position, right? Wide receiver. And people saying, okay, Q, is that a competition battle? Yeah, from 4 on back. 4 on back, yes, indeed. First few spots, we know Michael Thomas is, and from all indication, remember Mike had the presser. We covered it here on the Sports Coma, where he talked about no restrictions. He's going straight up. And that seems to be the case as well. Dennis Allen also is very high on it. You can take that how you want to take it. With a grain of salt or a grain of vinegar, apple cider vinegar, whatever you want to do. But the man did say it. So Michael Thomas is be back at least a shell of his old self. Chris Olave, listen, there's only one Michael Thomas. And if Michael Thomas is healthy, you're going to get the Michael Thomas that you've seen in that Atlanta Falcons game. You're going to see that guy, which is, and I just don't want to get too far into it, but that's only one, that's how he goes. You know, Michael Thomas is just going to play that way. That's how he plays. He plays dominant. He plays dominant every damn game that he's healthy out there. He's out there. He's out there to make plays. He's out there to make plays. There's only one way he's going to play. So if he plays and he's healthy and all indications saying that he will be ready to go, then we know we're going to get a supreme version of him. Never had a solid complement wide receiver. He has Chris Olave there to take a lot of that off him, Rashid Shaheed. He took both of those guys under his wing. And I just can't wait to see that triad of wide receivers healthy going along. We know Rashid Shaheed dealing with a groin issue, but all indications are saying he should be good for the training camp. So that's a positive. So anyway, back at least a shell of his former self, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed will join Thomas as a top-notch trio. But after wide receiver 3, things get a little bit interesting for the Saints. The competition promises to be both interesting and intriguing as New Orleans has one of their best outlooks at the position in quite some time. Now you got let me just say it, man. Y'all don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad at me. I'm about to say some names. All right. Veterans, Traquan Smith, Keith Kirkwood when Adali looked to keep the likes of Brian Edwards, James Washington at bay, but that won't be an easy task. Quan Baker has been around, but really hasn't done more than be a special teams presence. Their rookies like Shaq Davis and A.T. Perry will have to come along quickly to help their case. And then late adds like the returnman, Lynn Bowden Jr., who I really like. And Kiki Cote's a really good return man too. So that helps out in the return aspect. Hey, man, listen, man, y'all don't be mad if Traquan Smith turn around and make this team, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, Traquan Smith got several lives like a cat, man. That dude, man. That dude got the best luck here, man. All right, so anyway, man, we're going to see how it shakes, man. But let's go. I got the depth chart here, the unofficial depth chart here, fam, that I got pulled up from our lads, man. And they got all of the wide receivers on here. And as you see Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed right here. And then, of course, you go behind them. And then you see Traquan Smith there, A.T. Perry, Brian Edwards, Keith Kirkwood. There's also Kirk Merritt, who you see some rosters have him at the running back position. Some had him at the wide receiver position. James Washington, which is the veteran. That's, to me, when we talk about X factors, that's a big one there. James Washington is an interesting, very interesting person in this whole mix of things. Now, he's only about 5'10", 5'11", but this dude could ball. Now, when he was healthy, when he was with the Steelers, he showed out. When he was with Dallas, he did some things. But over the last several years, health has been the issue with this brother. James Washington was a solid, very solid signing for the Saints at the time, and I still really think he's a veteran guy that has speed. He has really good hands. And, man, I think people are not looking at James Washington, but I'm telling you, James Washington, man, is a dude that is an X factor to me. So you could put him down at one of Q's X factors, James Washington. Look out for that brother. But as always, a lot of people there go our brother, Traquan Smith. Shout out to Traquan, man. Traquan said, man, I don't care what y'all saying, man. I'm trying to get here. I'm trying to get back here, man. Yeah, so, Brian Edwards is another interesting wide receiver too. 6'3", big guy, has decent speed, and uses his body well, can go across the middle, make those big catches. Tough wide receiver as well, has some familiarity with the likes of Derek Carr. That could help in his favor as well. We can talk about guys like A.T. Perry, who was picked up, 6'3", 6'4" guy, who had very good statistics for Wake Forest. The Saints picked him up in the draft. And a lot of people are looking at this kid and they're saying, man, A.T. Perry could be the reason why Traquan Smith is up out of here. So it'll be interesting to see just how things twist and turn. I think Keith Kirkwood, his first stint with the Saints, it was pretty cool. But watching Keith Kirkwood in his second stint here, since he came back from the Panthers, he was dropping passes. He didn't quite look the same way that we expected him to look. I was like, man, he don't look the same, and he could get pushed out of here. But you got other guys that are really exciting when you talk about guys like Shaq Davis from South Carolina State, big wide receiver, 6'5", 215 pounds here. He's a guy that a lot of people like. We had some of my brothers, shout out to my brothers from the PNP camp. They were talking about Shaq Davis, and he's from out there in that area. They scouted him and said, hey, man, listen, if you guys can work on his route running, you have something with this guy. I hated to see you guys get this kid, but this dude could be something special. And we know the Saints do really well in helping our wide receivers develop. This is a big wide receiver with speed, a red zone weapon. And, man, listen, dude, Shaq Davis has a lot of potential, you know what I'm saying? And then you got Quine Baker, who was a 7th-round draft pick for the Saints. Remember, he got some issues with PEDs last year. He's back, has really good speed. He's a good, solid size, 6 feet, 215 pounds, several years with the Saints right now, has really good speed, could help him in a special teams game. He is really a really good catcher of the ball, too. Quine Baker is just, will he get an opportunity? Will he flash enough for them to notice him? He probably will end up on the practice squad. And, of course, you look at guys like Lynn Bowden, who was a guy who's a kick returner, punt returner guy at Kentucky. He did a lot of stuff. He played quarterback, running back, wide receiver. So his game, he can help you in so many ways. It just depends on your imagination, on what you can do with a guy like Lynn Bowden, very versatile player for the Saints, very fast, and is a good catcher of the ball, and a tough wide receiver like Kiki Coty, who's competing with him. Because both of these guys, Coty and Lynn Bowden, those are the guys that's competing for the special teams. That's your kick returner, punt returner guys right there. That's the guys that we'll be looking at. So, and then, of course, not to mention Keith Kirkwood, who balled out last year in training camp and in preseason and didn't make the active roster. He got on the active roster late due to injuries, and they really didn't use him very much. A few reps here or there, wasn't nothing really excited to talk about with him. So that's all of our wide receivers right there that we've laid out, all of the ones from wide receiver 4 on back that the Saints will have. Very busy and deep room for the black and gold. So we'll be taking a look. That's one of the groups that I'm really interested in seeing as well. All right, so let's move on to the next group, secondary. How about them secondary? The cornerbacks and DBs. Biggest storyline will be Paulson Adebo versus Alontae Taylor. Adebo should be the starter opposite of Laddie Daddy until he's not. Taylor's playing with a ton of confidence, has been working in the slot to improve his skill set. The depth at the corner position continues to be a strong suit for the Saints defense, so it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out when the season rolls on. We also could see a rotational approach like in previous years with Adebo and Taylor splitting some series. And, of course, we know Dennis Allen is in control and all of that, right? Now, however, things don't stop for the Saints there. Safety depth is plentiful. Aside from the top 3 on the depth chart with Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May, JT Gray, it's a guessing game on who will emerge as the favorites to be behind them. Last year saw the team keep 6 safeties on the final roster. While movement on the squad is fluid, it might give us a good indication of how many spots are up for grabs. Jonathan Abram, the hard hitter, was brung him. The versatile Lonnie Johnson Jr., Ugo Amadi, who's a special teams ace, Smoke Monday, who's the intriguing undrafted guy, and rookie Jordan Howden, who is, Jordan Howden could play, man. When the Saints draft, like, what the hell are we taking the safeties for? But this kid, when I studied the tape on Jordan Howden, the young kid from Minnesota, that kid is awesome. And, of course, you look at guys behind the Saints, when we talk about Jonathan Abram and Lonnie Johnson Jr., guys like that, they're on 1-year deals. So Jordan Howden could be the safety to follow them. And, of course, we talk about Marcus May, who missed 6 games last year. And, of course, he'll be missing some time this year when all things settle with his case with the DUI situation. So having some depth there as Jordan Howden coming forward could be a special prospect for us moving forward. I like that kid a lot. So let's take a look at our depth chart in terms of the secondary as we look into the secondary here. We talked about Paulson Adebo and Laddie Daddy. Let me just throw that out to the family members. Y'all, to the family members that's out there, y'all let me know how y'all feel about this, right? Well, who do you think now between a Paulson Adebo and a guys, Paulson Adebo and Alontae Taylor, who do you think gets the cornerback 2 position? CB2. Who do you guys like out of the two? You know, y'all throw it in the chat. Let me know how y'all feel. That is one that a lot of people are keeping their eyes tuned in on, watching that Paulson Adebo versus Alontae Taylor battle there. Okay, so anyway, we're going to start with the cornerbacks. You see Paulson Adebo right there and Alontae Taylor, and then Laddie Daddy opposite of him. And then behind the cornerbacks, you see guys, of course, you talk about the nickelback position. They got Bradley Roby listed there at the position. Now, I'm not too high on Bradley Roby. Maybe the Saints gave up a lot to get Bradley Roby here. They didn't give up on him. They could have got him up out of here. But the Saints say, nah, we're going to keep hold of him. You know, he's a guy with some experience. Plus, he's Ohio State. What you going to do? You know, we love our Ohio State Buckeye guys down here. Bradley Roby's a Buckeye, along with the rest of all these Buckeyes we got here. So let's give them an opportunity to show. So this year, I'm really hoping Bradley Roby really step up, because when he was with the Texans, he was a very decent cornerback. Since he came to New Orleans, you've seen dribs and drabs of his play. Like, I've seen too many bad plays from Bradley Roby, like the guy missing tackles and getting caught out of position. It's just, you know, reaching too much, not being confident on what he's looking at, looking too much in the back. It's several really, not good plays on film with Bradley Roby, but he does have the experience. Is this the year when we see a more refined and better version of Bradley Roby with the black and gold? That's the question that I ask myself. I'm not impressed with the play that I've seen from him since he's been here. Other guys to talk about, of course, we know about Lonnie Johnson Jr. They picked him up out of from the Tennessee Titan club. Has good size, 6'2", 213. And Lonnie Johnson has the ability to play corner or he can play safety for you too. So he has some versatility there, has good size. And Lonnie he has a great mentality. He's a pretty decent tackler. He has some of his flaws, but the Saints done a wonderful job in getting depth with Lonnie Johnson Jr. there. So he's another guy we're looking out for behind our cornerbacks. And Isaac Yiadom is another guy we picked up, former Texan. He has good size, 6'1", almost 190 pounds according to this graphic. I think he's a little heavier than that. But Yiadom's another guy. We looking at possibly a special teams guy. You know, the Saints brung on the team. Not too much to really talk about him. He's a decent backup option. I guess if you go too far back, you're having issues. And then, of course, you look at these other guys like Troy Pride Jr. He was a guy that was making plays in minicamp. So could Troy Pride be good enough to kind of make some plays, because he's going to have to flash on paper or flash on film and on field for the Saints people to notice him. But he's another guy that could be just simply a practice squad guy. But a lot of these guys that we're looking at are guys that are going to be competing for, backup roles. We see Anthony Johnson there from Virginia. Anthony Johnson made some plays. I remember seeing him making the mini camps and stuff like that we seen him play. So he's an intriguing prospect as well for the Saints. He's 6'2", 200-plus pounds there for the black and gold. And these are just some of the guys that we have behind our big three of Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, and Alontae Taylor. Adrian Fry is another dude that's here. I watched a lot of film on Adrian Fry. Very interesting player this guy is, how he plays, good attitude. He has, he has decent speed and has a good pair of eyes watching where the ball goes. He has some very good film at Texas Tech. We'll see. He made a few plays for the Saints during some of these camps that they had. So some of these guys are special team commodities. And Ugo Amadi, this is another dude. We kind of overlooked it. Saints picked him up from Seattle. Ugo's 5'9", or Ugo, I think his name's Ugo, 5'9", 200 pounds. So an undersized player at the cornerback position, was watching film on him, flashed on special teams, has a ridiculous motor, very excitable player. And I'm thinking when the Saints brought Ugo Amadi in here, they were looking, I don't know how he impacts the cornerback room, but I'm seeing him more as a special teams commodity for the black and gold going forward. So I was very excitable dude watching him play, man. So we'll see him and see what he brings. Now to move on to our secondary room, to the safety room, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. Who's behind those guys? You got young guy. We talk about Jordan Howden out of Minnesota. Saints picked this brother up. Love this brother film. Like I said, a lot of the guys, the free agents that I mentioned, like Lonnie Johnson Jr. and Jonathan Abrams, those guys on 1-year deals, 1-year prove-it deals. Howden is the draft pick. He can add some seasoning there. They're really big on Jordan Howden. Has good range, very smart player, tackling, dude goes for interceptions and actually gets the interceptions. Like tough ones, going up and getting the ball. Like we've seen some of our cornerbacks go up and make plays on the ball, but they don't come up with the ball. Like they'll make a deflection or they try to catch the interception and drop it. This guy gets there and brings that down. You know, he gets there. He gets the plays that flip the field for the black and gold. He gets offense back on the field. So Jordan Howden, another guy we got to watch out for. We talk about JT Gray, got a multiple-year deal with the black and gold. They come back mostly as an ace, but the Saints realize that JT is a good special teams guy. But remember, the Saints have been blessed over the last several years of having guys from the secondary that contribute on the special teams, but they don't contribute where they come from. I say that often because it's true. Like, you know, from a historical standpoint, we're talking about Chris Banjo. Remember Chris Banjo? Chris Banjo, what he did, awesome special teams dude. Can't give you nothing else anywhere else except for special teams. Whatever group he came from, no. You got problems if he's on the field. He's just not that good of a safety. And then Justin Hardy was another dude. Justin Hardy would give you everything. He was a smart special teams dude. Loved Justin Hardy. But if you ever wanted Justin Hardy to play for you at corner and you had injury issues, you are in trouble. And Hardy is, I was kind of making jokes because Justin Hardy was on the field for us a couple of years ago because he left to be the Jets special teams ace. He was out there on the field for the Saints, man, and they were cooking him like he was at Hardy's. I was like, hey, man, they cooking this kid like he had Hardee's, man.
He ain't lying.
So I was like, man, what's going on here, man? He might be the chef at Hardee's the way he getting cooked and fricasseed on the field. Man, I remember they had a wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, man, that ate his lunch, breakfast, and dinner. So Justin Hardy's gone, but we need guys that can contribute in the special teams really well and then go back to their rooms and do that. And in other words, we need duality there. We need guys that's versatile enough to do both things well. So that's what the Saints have been searching for. So JT Gray is a guy that's good, and hopefully he can improve there. Then we talk about other one, Jonathan Abrams. This is a guy that I'm very excited about. Jonathan Abrams, a guy who comes over from the Raiders. Man, you want to talk about hard-hitting safeties. This guy lives to knock the hell out of you. And Jonathan Abrams, his coverage ability needs a little work there, needs some work. I'm not going to tell you no lie. Jonathan Abrams' coverage ability needs work. But he is, boy, that guy will knock the hell out of you. He would knock the excrement out of you. He ain't lying. So when Jonathan Abram played, man, dude, you better watch out. He the type of dude that electrifies the defense, get them all pumped because he come in there and knock the hell out the running back and cause a fumble or hit the wide receiver and jolt the ball loose. That's what plays Jonathan Abram gives you. So like I say, he does need help from a coverage standpoint, but his hit ability reminds me of several interesting safeties that have played over time. We talking about guys like, man, I got to go back in my head. Just his hit ability, not his overall ability as a safety because he needs a little work there. But we talking about guys like Dante Hitmer, Whitmer, Dante Hitmer. We talking about guys like, what's my guy from that was from the 49ers, man, that played for the 49ers and would knock your head off. What was his name, man? Safety back there. We ain't going back to the Merton Hanks days. We talking about more, maybe as of 5 to 6 years ago, maybe a little longer. But y'all put it in chat. Y'all know who I'm talking about, man. His name always escapes me. And then another safety that recently played for the Saints that came from the used to be Redskins club. I forgot his name too. Y'all put his name in the chat too. So, man, it was interesting, man. But Jonathan Abram, man, if we can get him to cover, dude, you might have something here, right? He only 26 years of age anyway. No, not Ronnie Lott. What's up, Lo? Shout out to my brother, Lo, man. Shout out to my dog, Lo. Nah, not Ronnie, bro. No, you went a little too farther back, my brother. Yes, I can't think of the man's name, man. It was once, guys, y'all. Well, I already said Dante Whitmer. That's what he reminds me of. But now it's not Dante Whitmer. It's two other guys, and both of them played for the 49ers. Y'all gonna hit them. Y'all gonna get him sooner or later. He was with the 49ers. It wasn't Ronnie Lott. You're going a little too far back. DJ Swearinger is one of them. Swearinger, his game, like his hitability game, reminds me of Swearinger. Love what Swearinger, what he brought to the table. His hitability reminds me of Swearinger, and y'all gonna get that other name that he played for the 49ers, man. He played for the 49ers. There you go, Maul and Maul. Deshaun Golson. Y'all remember Deshaun Golson? Deshaun Golson was one of my all-time favorite safeties. Now, he wasn't on no Ronnie Lott level, but he was a very good safety that would knock your ass off, man. Yeah, Deshaun Golson, man. Y'all remember Deshaun Golson? Put one in the chat. Love Deshaun Golson, how he played, man. But Jonathan Abrams could be every bit of a Deshaun Golson if he can work on getting that coverage stuff together. So let's see if our new secondary coach, Marcus Robinson, can do that, because this could be a good pickup for us. He's still very young, 26 years old, and I love his hitability, man, what he brings to the table, man. He could be able to put some spice on them Atlanta Falcon wide receivers, man. Be able to put a little extra spice and a little extra a little oomph on them Falcon wide receivers and tight ends and running backs, and also a little bit more spicy on them Tampa Bay Buccaneers guys as well. And we got to throw Carolina in there as well. All of them, they can get an extra some spice and some extra Tabasco sauce on them with running around there with Jonathan Abrams coming out, because he ain't playing with you. Going to knock your ass off. He going to knock you off. All right, to talk about Tabasco and spice, how about some smoke for you? Smoke Monday, man. The coolest name on the team, maybe Storm Norton, is between Storm Norton and Smoke Monday. Smoke Monday is a guy a lot of people love, 6'2", 200-plus pounds. He's a very interesting safety, has range, big guy, will hit, love his attitude. He was talking mess to the Falcons, I think. That's what I really like him on. I was able to watch the tape on him from Auburn. Love how he plays the game. He's in a loaded secondary special team safety room, and we'll see how he looks going forward. But a lot of people like that kid, man. So that's some of the guys right there. All right, so anyway, we got to put some spice on them Atlanta Falcons guys, man. We got to knock them on up out of here, man. Get them on up out of here. What's up, Professor? Shout out to you, man. All right, B-Mill, good to see you, fam. All right, Big Low says, tell Marcus Robinson not to put Abrams on Kyle Pitt. Oh, bro, hey, Low, we getting them, bro. What's up, Japanese Hercules? Man, listen, Low, I'm telling you, man. Listen, Marcus May hits hard too, man. Marcus May hits hard. So just get you guys ready. Tell them eat some more steak and tone up, man, because we coming. We got them, you know. But anyway, picking up some steam, let's take a look at the rest of some of these camp battles that the piece talks about. Offensive line. Things are far from settled here, especially given the injuries Saints typically have to deal with along the line. In particular, the left tackle spot is what we're really monitoring. Trevor Penning. However, players like Nick Seldeveri are expected to provide some good competition. Protecting Carr is going to be the top priority for the Saints, and it'll be interesting to see what's the final product looks like. So you're talking about guys that the Saints recently drafted last year. Trevor Penning, first round draft pick. Nick Seldeveri is a guy that the Saints picked up in the 4th round. So as we kind of span up to my offensive line right here, take a look at them. You see Penning penciled in at the left tackle position. What's up, Matt? Shout out to you. Hey, Lo, you can't tell me I didn't give you no fair warning, brother. I'm giving you fair warning, bro. The Saints got hitters on that defense and they coming. Hey, Lo, listen, bro. Shout out to you, my brother. I seen your piece on the about Ryan Nielsen. I seen you ranting and raving about Ryan Nielsen. Lo was ranting and raving, man. Lo was ranting and raving about Ryan Nielsen. Like, man, I was like, yeah, oh yeah, we know Lo, we know. We know who he is. We know who he is, bro. We know who Ryan Nielsen is, bro. Trust me, we do. All right, yeah, you got a good one there, my brother. All right, so left tackle position, blindside quarterback position, Mr. Trevor Penning. We talked about this before, fam. I love Penning's game, his athleticism, his meanness under control, under discipline meanness. Remember, he had that little issue, then the Saints talked to him and it disappeared, which means he's a quick study. Love that. But Penning athletically is there. It's all about him getting it. It takes reps. 6'7", 325. Dude, super athletic, super strong, love pinning. His mentality is going to be really big for the Saints because we got a bunch of big, nice guys on our offensive line. Hey, they can play. They're just nice guys. Eric McCoy, super nice guy, man. Andrews Pete, super nice guy, man. Cesar Ruiz got a little dog in him. And then Ryan Ramczyk is a guy who, in his first 4 years, was vicious. And then after they gave him his money, he a big teddy bear now. So we hoping that Ryan, listen, man, I love you, man. We want to see Ryan Ramczyk of the first 4 years, bro. Keep the money, but just give us Ryan Ramczyk of the first 4 years. Give us that guy, please, man. Please, Ryan Ramczyk. We need that guy.
He ain't lying.
So Penning, blindside. I often said this, man. Shout out to Pam. Man. What's up, baby? Shout out to you for being a pro star for the last 11 months. Much love, Queen. Penning is a guy, like I said, I didn't really want to see Penning as our blindside guy. You have a very expensive commodity at your quarterback position. Is this young man right here, Derek Carr? Saints spending a lot of cake on this guy to be the quarterback over the next 4 years. I wasn't comfortable about you putting Penning as his blindside tackle. Actually, this started last year when Jameis Winston was the quarterback and we had Penning situated to be the starter. And I was like, I don't like a rookie being our blindside guy. You know, Saints didn't want to move Ram over there for whatever reason. And I kept saying Ram is the best. Well, I guess played last year, the guy that played the best for us was Cesar Ruiz. So ain't no more Caesar salad routines or commentary. He stepped up and played really well last year. Shout out to Doug Marrone. But Ryan Ramczyk, when his mind right and his body's right, this is our best lineman right here. Our best lineman right here is offensive lineman is Ryan Ramczyk, one of the top 5 in the league, top paid offensive linemen in the league. Saints put him up there with the paper. I thought this brother here should be the guy that's protecting the quarterback, but they're going to keep it as is. Fundamentally speaking, that kind of shies against football logic. Usually it's your best tackle that protects the blind side of the quarterback. But I do like Penning. We'll see how this experiment works. But you got Andrews there. Andrews is another interesting guy. I think as long as the Saints' offensive line is intact, these are going to be the starters for the line. And like we talk about, all these guys are super nice guys, man. Like I said, Cesar got some dog in him because he's been hearing all of that, all the talk about him struggling a bit, but he looked really good. Shout out to Cesar Ruiz, man. I got to give him love and credit. He played his ass off last year. He was our best offensive lineman through the entire year. I got to give it to him. Now, when you have Penning, Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, and Ramczyk, this is a solid line, very solid line. The only problem is, how could we get them through? I guess it's a lot to ask for to say a full season when we have all of our guys. But the Saints realize, like, we're not setting that to luck. So what we got is we got our swing tackle in James Hurst, right? We got Hurst as our swing tackle. He's a guy that plays left tackle. So if something happens, he's going to come in at the tackle position. If something happens at the guard position, and, Hurst he'll come in. Perhaps the Saints, I like Hurst better inside than outside. As he getting a little older, getting up there, 31 years of age. He played really well when he was in there against speedy guys, which is really his Achilles, heel. But I like him at guard. He's a fantastic guard for the Saints. Oddly enough, most of these guys are free agents, by the way, next year. But they got some interesting competitions for the backup position. The writer made mention of Nick Saldiveri, our 4th round pick. This guy ultimately will replace Andrews, whose deal was reworked on a 1-year deal. So Nick Saldiveri had some injuries, during, the mini camp, stuff like that. They kind of held him out. He was kind of working off to the side. And we'll see what he looks like going into the camp, because a lot of people are looking at Nick Saldiveri, and they got him penciled in as a guard to play the position. This dude is good, man. This dude is good. So he's the future guard, where when Andrews is going, I can see Nick Saldiveri working in that position. Outside of him, another spectacular, and I'm going to say solid signing, because we talk about spectacular signings. We talk about Jamal Williams. We talk about James Washington. Love those signings. This was a very, very under-the-radar, solid signing. Billy Price, out of course, Ohio State. We got to give everybody from Ohio State that play in the NFL a job. If you play football And it don't matter where you at. If you from Ohio State, you can come to the Saints. We're going to give you a job. Billy Price, man, listen, Saints got him on a good deal. He's an experienced safety. Safety. I'm thinking my secondary, a center, sorry. He's an experienced center. Man, I showed some footage of Billy Price in the pros and in college. This guy could play. This was a very smart move by the Black and Gold to sign Billy Price, man. This guy could play. Very solid move. So if we have issues with McCoy, Price could slide in there because they really didn't have a bona fide veteran center to fill in. If McCoy missed time, then what they would do is, they would kind of throw, you could slide Cesar Ruiz at the center position and then kind of shift the line. This way you don't have to shift the line. Like if you have issues and Nick Saldiveri is healthy, perhaps he slides inside and play, I still say Hurst goes there, but you never know. The mentality might be to keep Hurst as a backup tackle and allow Nick Saldiveri to play if injuries impact the interior of the offensive line. We have options, in other words, So those guys are there. Then there's Storm Norton. This is another good move for the Saints. This is a veteran. This dude is huge. He's 6'8", 300+ pounds. And you watch the film on Storm Norton. We did it on our Patreon channel for our family members. We covered a lot of these people's tapes. Storm Norton, man, is a dude that can play both tackle positions, offensive tackle for you. He's a veteran guy. He's a big dude, but he moves his feet really well. He really does. It's just amazing how big some of these humans are and how agile these guys are, man. He's a big dude who moves his feet pretty well. Kind of surprised me how good he moves his feet. Now, he has some issues he got to work out, but he's a solid option for a backup tackle. All that means is we have a lot of guys that's going to have some problems. Kelvin Throckmorton's another big guy who hasn't really became the guy we thought Kelvin Throckmorton should have been. As big as he is, we thought he should dominate more. Not really excited about him. How does he look going forward? Remember, Jari Evans is a part of our offensive line. He's an assistant offensive line coach now. So I expect him to help out with the development of guys like Throckmorton, our young offensive lineman. Landon Young's another guy that was brung on 6'6", 300+ pounds. This guy was a guy from Kentucky we picked up. He could play guard. The Saints have him playing tackle. He had an issue with his foot. Had a broken foot. He came back, didn't look all that good last year. And Landon Young, man, you got to step it up. It's a lot of competition there. Lewis Kidd, we seen a lot of Lewis Kidd last year. He played decently in spots when he was called about. The Saints have guys like Alex Filstrom. These are undrafted guys to kind of fill out. Martin Code is another dude the Saints brought in. So they got a few backup guys right here. And Mark Evans II from Arkansas Pine Bluff. We got another big offensive lineman from up there several years ago named Teron Armstead. This guy's tape is phenomenal. I love Mark Evans, his tape. But it's going to be a long shot for him to make it because the Saints, man, look how deep the backup offensive line. You talk about James Hurst and Billy Price, Nick Saldiveri, he's healthy. Storm Norton is there. And usually you'll have like 4 reserve offensive linemen, guys that can do multiple things. If you look at Hurst, Hurst makes the team. Billy Price, if he's healthy and he's playing, he should make the team. Nick Saldiveri should make the team if he's good. Storm Norton should make the team. So, listen, it's going to be tough for a lot of guys in the offensive. So it's going to be cool watching the battles with our offensive linemen. Let's go to our defensive line, family. Here's the defensive interior. The roster turnover along with the interior will be what we pay the most attention to. Free agents, Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard looking to bring more stability there. Brian Breesy, the team's first-round pick, would also to be someone to watch closely when the pad's on. The Saints like his versatility along the line. So when you talk exclusively about the Saints defensive line, right, fam? Just interiorly, we're not talking about, the edge guys, even though I'm going to talk about the edge guys because I thought that was a battle, too, that we need to look at, like the other edge battle between guys like Carl Granderson and the rest. But just looking at some of the guys, when you talk about Biggs Saunders, 6 feet tall, 300 and almost 330 pounds. Now, people are saying, well, Q, these guys were not full-time players. They were more like reserve guys when they came here. But people don't realize sometimes, these guys are ready. You get in and you play when you can play, and you do what you could do when allotted, and you make the most of your time and you try to earn as much time as you can. Well, the Saints were able to look at Kalen Saunders and Nate Shepherd and say, hey, man, we love what these guys can do. And I think these guys can help us. But when we got Kalen Saunders, I was like, man, let me study the film. This dude, you won't talk about a big guy that's super athletic. Like there will film more than one time that I would spot Kalen Saunders running faster and getting to the ball carrier before his speedier defensive end counterparts that were next to him on the line get there. He would beat those big defensive ends to the ball carrier. He would, and it's just amazing. His straight line speed, his closing speed, it just scares the hell out of you because you don't expect the guy as big as Kalen Saunders to move that fast. But you see him running down the line of scrimmage and making plays, getting the ball carrier. He got a great set of eyes. He's always paying attention in the backfield to know if it's a pass or it's a run. He's always providing a push. He's double teaming. Even if he can't get to you, he's looking around to see what's going on back there. So, I mean, the Saints, this will be a, people going to talk about this signing when it's all said and done. You know, and then, of course, we added Big Nate Shepherd, 6'4", 315. Now, to me, Big Saunders is better than Nate Shepherd, but Nate, what makes them mirror kind of comparable in terms of what they have, you know, the similarities between the two rather, is that they're both high motor, high, you know, aggressive players. Like if you watch the film, they're fighting. They fight every play. They fight every play. And that's what you want to see. Like you ain't see a lot of that last year. These guys fight. That, you know, I was talking about, you know, violence. That was a term that I used when I described Saunders and Shepherd. Violent interior guys. They fight. And I ain't talking about fisticuffs. I'm talking about they are pawing and twisting, turning, pushing, you know, and then and it's every damn play. It's every play. These men are in there fighting aggressively, trying to get to the ball carrier or get to the quarterback. They are major league disruptive. That, you know, it's just amazing. I watched the tape. These guys are fighters, man. They're in there just trying to get to the goddamn guy. Every play, high motor, every play, high motor. Guys, that's what you got here. So I hear people what they say, hey, Q, yeah, these guys, we don't know too much about them in terms they ain't play a lot, but hey, that could change here. When you put them in a rotation, if they have the proper attributes that you want and they're healthy guys, they can help. And of course, our first round draft pick, this the same type of dude. When you watch this dude plays, 6'6", 300 plus pound guy, this is another dude. And people say, Q, he was hurt. Man, let me tell you something. We played the footage, not the footage. We played the footage of his press conference recently, like about a week or so ago, matter of fact. Brian Breesy said he's 100% healthy. Say, I'm ready to go. So he had a lot of stuff going on at Clemson, but you got a healthy Brian Breesy here. And he fits the mold. And I was like, I see what the Saints are doing. These are big guys that are very athletic. They're very strong. They're high motor. They are fighting every play damn near. And we seen, I showed footage on Patreon, our Patreon channel, of Breesy lining up at end. He rushing them from the end. You got a 6'6", 300 pound guy rushing from the end. Dude, listen, I love what these guys can do, what they potentially could do for the defense. And listen, it got to be better than what the hell we seen last year, right? So you saying who could be the guy there is a battle between Nate Shepherd and Brian Breesy to sit next to Big Saunders, right? When we signed Nate Shepherd, I was saying, I don't think Shepherd is a starter. I think something else going to happen. Well, we see. Eventually, maybe he starts off like that, but I think ultimately Breesy and Saunders will be the guys playing next to each other, and Shepherd acts as a rotational guy, which works because the Saints love rotating their interior men, you know? And then, of course, we talk about Malcolm Roach. The Saints read up with Roach. Roach was he was a defensive tackle for Texas A&M several years ago that was playing linebacker for him. So when the Saints picked up Roach, they knew what they had, you know, and you can only look at Roach improving and getting better, man. So I'm happy that they brought him back. And then the guys behind them is what we're looking at. Jack Heflin is an undrafted. Well, he's a guy that the Saints picked up. He was with Green Bay, and he has some pro experience. Not a lot of experience, but he's interested in his film. Is interested in 6'3", 300-plus pounds. Another fighting-ass interior defensive tackle. Another fighter. If you watch Heflin, I don't know if you've seen Heflin's footage, but this is another type of guy. These are fighting interior defensive tacklemen. These guys fight. You don't talk about this dude right here. Watch out for this guy, man. We talked about James Washington, Q's X Factors. I'm going to do a show on it quite before the week over with. Jaron Cage, the X Factors are the X guys to watch out for. Jaron Cage is a dude we need to watch out for, fam. I was watching the tape on Jaron Cage, 6'2", 6'3", 300-plus pounds, but don't move like a 300-pound man. He doesn't. You know, this guy, man, listen, this guy could be looking pretty interesting. And then finally, we had Prince Emili, who the Saints had on the practice squad last year. He didn't get much burn. He just sat on the practice squad. So you can see why I've been saying, hey, the Saints could use some more help from an interior defensive. When you get behind guys like Roach, who are you going? You're going to trust these guys that don't have really a lot of experience. Unless my thought process is the Saints use Tenu Passanio, who's 6'7", he's over 300 pounds. This is old numbers here, but Passanio is who I was thinking the Saints would play. And word on the street is I'm hearing that they're going to play him more inside and outside this upcoming year. Like right now, he's situated, if he is in the conversation he in the back of the list. When you talk about guys like Carl Granderson, Payton Turner, and Isaiah Foskey, you got Passanio is behind those guys. So you thinking Passanio could be more active inside. And then, of course, they could still use him if they need him on the outside, but he makes more sense inside than outside with everything the Saints got going on. So if that is indeed what they intend to use him on in word of the street, that's what I'm hearing, then that could be why the Saints have not addressed by getting an extra interior defensive lineman with a lot of experience, because there's several interior defensive tackles that's out there the Saints could bring in for next to nothing. You see? You dig? So anyway, let's move on. We're going to flash back to the interior, the edge rusher, because he don't have that here. Linebackers, the big question revolves around who ends up being the next Caden Ellis. We're expecting DeMarco Jackson to take a big second-year leap. DeMarco Jackson now. But it won't stop there. Can undrafted rookies, Nick Anderson, love Nick Anderson, and Anthony Orji, watch the film. Anthony Orji from Vanderbilt, dude is special, man. Big safety with hit ability. Nick Anderson special because he covers the field. He was awesome last year for Tulane. You know, can they crack the squad? Can Zach Bowen, it's a big question, can Zach Bowen make something more of himself in a contract year? There's a lot of players here with some potential, but we also wouldn't be shocked to see the Saints add here. This is the biggest position of need for the Saints going into training camp. They definitely would benefit from adding a veteran linebacker to the mix. The Saints have some money. And people keep saying, Quan Alexander makes sense. This is true. He does make sense. He makes a lot of sense. He played a lot of games for the Jets last year, and they only paid him $1.2 million. That's very, exceptional for the Saints to get him here. But also to play devil advocate to that, remember why Quan Alexander left where he left anyway, because the Saints didn't cut Quan. Quan said that then they approached him and said, hey, Quan, listen, Pete Werner's our guy. DeMario's our guy, of course. But Pete Werner, we like Pete. He'll be the starter. We want you to back Pete Werner up. Quan Alexander said no. So the Saints put him in the street. Remember that? That's how it happened. So does he, I don't want to say humble himself, but does he change his mind and say, you know what? Let me come on back to the Saints and play and work my way for that third position against Zach Bowen. I know what y'all told me about Pete Werner, but let me humble myself and come back to the Saints and see if I can get this chip over here and play behind that guy. Because if he'd have said yes and stayed here, he would have played anyway because Pete Werner was hurt a lot. That year after he left, Pete Werner played. Pete Werner got hurt. He would have played. And really, Caden Ellis wouldn't have. Caden Ellis is the happiest person in the NFL when Quan Alexander said, hey, man, I'm going to the Jets or I'm going to free agency. Caden Ellis was the happiest man in the NFL. He benefited more than any. Caden Ellis benefited more than anybody in the NFL when Quan Alexander said, I'm going to free agency. I'm going up to the Jets. He took that year, that next year, he took that and turned it into a payday. Did you hear me? 20-something odd $million to go and start for the Falcons, man. Caden Ellis was happy. That was a big move. But playing devil's advocate, does Quan Alexander say, okay, the Saints' perspective on that hasn't changed. They still see Pete Werner as a starter next to DeMario. So does he say, you know what, I'll take the $1 million or whatever it is, come play for you and be a third guy and battle Zach Bond for the spot? Does he do that? That's the question. That's why he left. Anyway, we're gonna went to the linebackers. We know about DeMario Davis. That's the mighty DeMario. We know about Pete Werner. He's exceptional. He just got to get that. He got to get over the hump with his injuries. He's special, man. He's gonna be good. A lot of people calling him. What's the guy from Carol? He's good, but I ain't going to say he's as good as that guy. The guy that played for Carolina at the linebacker position. What's his name, fam? I forgot the man name. He ain't a Saint guy, so I don't remember his name. But y'all remember put him in the chat, man. The linebacker that played for the Carolina Panthers, it's a lot of people comparing him to that linebacker. Y'all put it in the chat. The man name escapes me right now. But Pete Werner, I don't know if I'm gonna say he's that good yet, but he getting up there, So he gotta be careful there with his injuries. And of course, the big question, Luke Kuechly. Thank you, Pammy. See y'all helping me out. Y'all know I'll be forgetting these names. Boy, if it wasn't for y'all, man, we wouldn't be knowing. I wouldn't be. I could see their faces, but I could see the man's face, but his name just escaped me. Yeah, Luke Kuechly. That's his name now. Dude, if he can stay healthy, he will be every bit of that. He will be every bit of the Saints versions of Luke Kuechly. I'm just going to be honest with you. Thank y'all for helping me out. All right, Dev84 John says, Q, we go as far as our O-line. Hey, bro, you got to win in the trenches, bro. You absolutely right. Hey, man, you're right. Shout out to the fam. I'm sorry I'm reading this stuff. If y'all commenting on stuff, I'm sorry, man. Uneducated Sport Talk. How you doing, my brother? How you feeling, bro? Good to see you, man. All right. He said, relaxing. Okay, good. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to you, my friend. Appreciate you. All right. Yeah. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'll be forgetting people's names sometimes. Not all the time. I'm kind of famous for forgetting a few names. And of course, sometimes I do have a issue with pronunciation every now and again. So if you're from the continent, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you might see me kind of just initialize some stuff at me. Yeah, when passing, listen. When Passanio first got on this team, man, that dude there, man, I was calling him all kind of stuff. And you know who helped me out? Scoob helped me out, man. Scoob said, Q, the man name is this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, my bad, dude. That don't look nothing like what it sound, man. Let me just be honest with you. I'm sorry. I'm working on it, though. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. I'm working on it. I'm working. But anyway, I know how to pronounce this guy's name. Zach Bond. Zach Bond, man, is a dude that a lot of people believe is on the hot seat in terms of his position. I don't know if the Saints bring a linebacker in. Playing devil's advocate to the Zach Bond perspective, family, is Zach Bond. The Saints could possibly see Zach Bond having faith in Zach. Perhaps they see Zach Bond excelling like Caden Ellis did last year. Could that be what they see in Zach Bond? Not what me and you see, but what they see, because they could have released Zach Bond last year. They could have said to hell with Zach Bond and cut him and got him up out of here and went with somebody else. You see? But they decided to say, you know what? We like Zach Bond. And it's almost like Zach Bond is the defense version of Traquan Smith. You know?
He ain't lying.
It's like, Zach Bond is like the defensive version of Traquan Smith, man. We'd be like, okay, like last year, it's like Zach Bond should have been a practice squad player for the Saints last year, because Eric Wilson had the man beat. Eric Wilson had him beat. He had him beaten and everything. Off-season stuff, when you got the training camps, the preseason, Eric Wilson had the man beat dead to left. Eric Wilson should have started on the Saints active roster. He would still be on the team. For whatever reason, Dennis Allen came out here and said, we're going to put Eric Wilson on the practice squad and activate Zach Bond. I'm like, what? Why? Why? What's going on here? But that's what he did. And then ultimately, you know, what ended up happening, Green Bay pilfered Eric Wilson off of our practice squad. They pilfered him, and he's still with them people right now. And I was like, dude, we wouldn't even be talking about bringing Quan Alexander here if Eric Wilson was here. He was that good last year. Imagine what he would have looked like this year, the second year in the Saints system. That would have been amazing. But anyway, Zach Bond is here. Could it be the Saints see Zach Bond as a guy that's ready to make a leap here in the contract year? Could it be the Saints? And it's not me now. I'm just playing devil's advocate to their thinking because it's mighty, I ain't going to say strange, but it's curious that the Saints have not brought in a veteran linebacker. You know, they still could do it going into camp that can challenge for that third spot because you know you have a guy like Pete Werner who will, you know, that is over the last couple of years. Now, of course, I don't want him to miss no time this year. I want him to be healthy. But he has missed time over the last couple of years. So Zach Bond will see the field if that happens this year. So could they be seeing Zach? And listen, I don't have no problems with Zach Bond. I don't think, you know, this could be the year. He has athletic ability. He is a smart dude. A lot of people saying, Q, listen, he's a 34 linebacker who don't fit the Saints system. Listen, fam, that was 4 years ago when they drafted this man out of Wisconsin. In 4 years, could he be able to at least learn something, you know, play some of it? You know, it ain't exactly that. You see what I'm saying? At least learn something because he's going to be playing. If Pete goes down or if DeMario has problems, Zach Bond's going to be playing. So 4 years in the Saints system, defensively speaking, right? Does he have a Caden Ellis year? A lot of people say, Q, I don't know. I don't believe in Zach Bond. I hear you. But these are questions that I can't explain why there's not a veteran presence at the linebacker position, but there should be. And of course, let's go to the rest of our linebackers that's backing them up. Andrew Dowell is a guy that been on the team before. He's done some really good things in the special teams. It was a point a couple of years ago where Dowell was actually handling his business. He was on pace to kind of do a little bit more with the Saints, and then there was he had, I don't know if to say a setback, whether it was injuries or not, but it was like, he kind of dropped off. The Saints kind of got rid of him, and then he ended up going to Dallas, and then the Saints brought him back. So it's interesting to see where does he fit, because we talk about linebackers. Are we overlooking Dowell, who had success in the Saints linebacker room? Are they a lot more confident in his abilities to play if injuries hit the Saints? So he's another guy there. DeMarco Jackson, he's a guy a lot of people are big up on from Appalachian State last year. I had to go back and study his film. Go back and look at his film from Appalachian State. The guy he built like a linebacker. I mean, he's 6'1", 230 pounds. He hits. He sees the field well. You can see his greatest strength is not so much dropping into coverage, even though I've seen him drop into coverage, but he loves blitzing. He loves defending the run. He loves going, that type of stuff is just a linebacker. I've seen some stuff of him dropping into coverage. I think that's something probably he needs to work on a little bit more, but him playing a run, he's special. But I would love to see DeMarco Jackson. We're going to have an opportunity to see what DeMarco Jackson looks this year for the team. A lot of people thinking he can have a big leap this year. All right, Ty Summers, mostly a special team veteran linebacker. The Saints brought in to help out there, 6'1", 241. Not much we can spec out some of these guys. And then we talk about guys like Ryan Connolly, another special teams linebacker. The Saints bringing in here to kind of help out with the team. You talk about Nephi Sewell. Remember, he was on the team last year, made a few plays on special teams for the Saints. He mostly spent time on the practice squad. And then you talk about guys like Anthony Orji from Vanderbilt, who was a safety converted to like a linebacker. The dude has that big safety speed, hits hard, can cover. The dude's a playmaker, man. Love what he brings. And a lot of people love Nick Anderson because of his Tulane roots. But let me tell you, Nick Anderson is special, man. He's special, undersized. The Saints got a duel with him. Maybe he makes the practice squad, or it's going to be a battle between some of our young guys. We keep an eye on both Orji and Anderson moving forward. So it's going to be special watching some of these guys. Of course, we talk about the special teams. Speaking of special, right? Perfect segue. Previously pointed out expectations that Will Lutz and Blake Gillikin will have a legitimate battle in camp against Blake Grupe and Lou Headley. Grupe feels like he has the best outlook right now. Even if he can't beat out Lutz, he has a real opportunity to latch on elsewhere if he can keep things going. I say the Saints practice squad him, right? If we have an issue, bro, with Will Lutz, shouldn't we keep at least one kicker on our practice squad? I mean, one kicker. Shouldn't that be like the mentality going forward? It's like, okay, we had good kickers. Although I think Will Lutz and Blake Gilligan win those battles. I think Will Lutz wakes up 74% last year accuracy from Will Lutz was staggering. You got to say a lot of that was him getting back from that core surgery he had the year prior. So he was looking good kicking in the minis and doing all this other stuff. So I will be kept on Will Lutz. And even though Will Lutz makes the team, Blake Grupe should be practice squatted, because if we have another setback at the kicker position, we can roll a kicker off our practice squad onto the active roster who's familiar, we knows what he can do, and keep the thing moving. You see what I'm saying? Because injuries to our kickers happen, and we don't keep an extra kicker on our active roster, obviously, so it should be a place on our practice squad where we can keep that guy. So, we'll see how they handle it. Anyway, this is a point of emphasis too, fam. We talk about when we make mention of the Saints special teams and the coverage, not covering the kick returns and punt returns when we kick off to them, to the opposing team, and they run it back. We do a good job there. But receiving kicks, receiving punts, and then, running with them after we receive them needs work. It's the weakest part of our game from a special teams wise. I always talk about that because it can make life a lot easier for our offense by flipping the field and getting short field starting at the 40 to 45 if we can learn how to block. So I'm asking Darren Rizzi to make that a focus. Please make that a focus. And for my reporter friends, could y'all please bring that up to the special teams people and ask them about that, because that has been an eyesore for the last several years when you see guys running past the blockers for the Saints and tackling our kick return and punt return people. That's how Hardy got hurt. Remember, Deontay Harris-Hardy got hurt on one of them plays because guys running through the blocking and he getting tackled by 2, 3, and sometimes 4 guys. That shouldn't even be a thing, man. How are you that bad when that means you're not blocking anybody if 3 guys are tackling and the guy will put a move on one dude, a move on another dude, and then 2 more damn dudes there. I'm like, what? And it ain't he kicking or running away from his coverage. I watched the film. It is poor blocking going on. And I really despise that. And it's like people, they're not even paying attention to. I'm like, dude, if we can pay attention to that, we can have some difference here. We can change some stuff here. So that's a few of the camp battles there. And let's just go back, because we didn't cover this one, the defensive end battle, right? We talked about that. We want to know who plays on the other side of the mighty Cam Jordan. The ageless, timeless Cam Jordan, right? 8 something odd sacks last year, eclipsed 115 and a half sacks this year, and a potential deal is on the way that should be done before late July. So be looking out for that, family. The deal is the Saints add on 2 more years to Cam Jordan's contract and making him a Saints for life. So that we'll be looking out for that as well. So who will be this man's complement this year? Well, Carl Granderson stating his case. He had 5.5 sacks last year. Carl 6'5" and some change, 260 plus. I think he's up to like 270 plus. And Carl Granderson is more of a complete defensive player than any of his younger compatriots. You talk about Payton Turner, and you talk about guys like Isaiah Foskey, who's obviously a rookie, even though Isaiah has the sack gene. Carl Granderson could be ready to step up. A lot of unofficial depth charts have Carl Granderson listed as the opposite starter to Cam. 5.5 sacks last year, and Carl Granderson, this could be his time. This could be Carl's time right here. And I think Carl Granderson is good, man. Carl is one of the most unappreciated Saints players on the team. What you think, fam? To you, who's the most unappreciated Saints player on the team? Carl Granderson had 5.5 sacks last year for the Saints. Davenport, who started the majority of the games, had a 0.5 sack. So Granderson was outperforming him, and whenever opportunity he got out there to play. The only question mark is if Carl ready for, and devil advocate, is Carl Granderson ready for a larger role with the Saints? Is it Carl time? Is it Carl time? That's the thing. But the Saints have a lot of other competition, and the defensive end position is a very competitive situation because you have Payton Turner. Payton's a former first-round draft pick. Payton Turner has athleticism. He has a dog mentality. The problem with Payton Turner is the injuries. They're really annoying. But Payton Turner coming into his third year, and when the Saints drafted, a lot of people said we could have got Payton Turner in the second round. Regardless or not, Payton Turner needs to show that he's worthy of that first-round draft pick. We don't want to ham Davenport the bust. Davenport for the Saints was a bust. He might do something for Minnesota. I don't care. But as far as the Saints are concerned, Davenport's a bust, man. He's a bust. But I'm not going to attach that busty energy on top of Payton Turner and say that Payton Turner is going to be. I'm detaching all information. I'm detaching all energy and any comparison or otherwise to Payton Turner and Marcus Davenport. I am detaching that shit because we still time for Payton Turner to show us we can do it. When he plays well. He plays the run well. He plays the pass well. Payton Turner when he plays well. The problem is getting him to play consistently. That's the issue. So a lot of people looking at him and saying, hey, bro, could you step up and handle your business this year? And he has to go through Carl Granderson. It seems to be the man with the plan. In terms of the draft compensation, you expect first-round draft pick to step up and earn the position. We'll see. The biggest impediment, I don't know if it's Carl Granderson, I think the biggest impediment to a guy like, say, a Payton Turner and to me, it's not Granderson, it's the injury man. That's it's the injury bug.
He ain't lying.
So, and of course, our second round draft pick, Isaiah Foskey, the Saints, they hit this one out the park. This guy was phenomenal at Notre Dame. And then Isaiah Foskey has a lot of athleticism. He has a few moves, but boy, when he gets a spin move, listen. All right, fam. Something happened with the stream. All right, okay, there you go. Okay, I'm sorry, fam. I'm back. I had a little issue right there where something dropped off, but we here. You might have to refresh. All right, so Isaiah, I'm going to go through this, fam, and then I promise I'm going to jump into y'all comments. So please feel free. If y'all got any comments, throw them in the chat, man. I'm going to get to as many of them as I can. I'm trying to get through the rest of the breakdown. Isaiah Foskey family, right? We talk about him having the sack gene. We talk about Isaiah. Now, if you study the film, we did this on our Patreon special. The link is in the description section for our family members who help us out on our Patreon with film work. And we looked at it. Isaiah Foskey, when he was in Notre Dame, athleticism, he has like one or two moves, like, right, that get him a lot of success, right? When this guy learned a lot more moves, I want him to work on that Dwight. If he can get that Dwight Freeney spin move, dude, Isaiah Foskey, hear me, brother. I don't know if you're doing this or not, but study film on Dwight Freeney from the Colts. Dude, add that to your repertoire and listen. He's, when you look at guys like Payton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, we know first-round draft pick, second-round draft pick, they're, to a degree, they're going into the future. Isaiah's the future. Because Cam got a couple of years left, so at some point, he's going to soak up as much game from Cam and probably end up being the man that goes over there. But the reality is he has the sack gene. I mean, he was a top sacker at the University of Notre Dame, and there ain't nothing to spit at because he took down Justin Tucker stuff. And Tucker, listen, Tuck is a hell of a defensive lineman. Tuck was phenomenal with the Giants. But he took his stuff down. But Isaiah Foskey has the sack gene, man. He learns a few more moves, gets stronger. This dude will be something for you. Now, I don't know if that's now. We'll see, because we looking at it and people saying the most interesting competition is the in camp is the Alontae Taylor versus Paulson Adebo battle. But fam, this battle, the defensive end battle with Granderson, Payton Turner, and Isaiah Foskey, that is the most, to me, that is the most intriguing, because really, if a guy steps out and ball, they have the opportunity to jump in that spot. So if a guy runs away with it, they could jump in that spot. But, I'm not outweighing Carl Granderson, man. I think Grand could be a dude that's ready for that opportunity, but it all depends on Payton Turner. Is Payton Turner going to bring it this year? Is he going to bring it this year? And, of course, outside of those three guys, we talk about, like we mentioned, Tanu Passanio. And Passanio, they got him listed as a defensive end. They've done that over the Saints roster. They don't have him as a defensive tackle. He's 29. He gave him a multiple-year deal. So, it's this, and we talked about all those other guys. We talked about Grant. We talked about Payton Turner. We talked about Isaiah Foskey. Passanio is the last guy there. So you would think, okay, Passanio is a guy, he's the dead last in terms of seeing that. And we do think Passanio will make the team. I think Tanu Passanio makes the team. But I think more at interior than he do at exterior, obviously, with all the people that they have there. So I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, even though he's there, I think he's more of an inside guy than an outside guy. Because I would love to see Passanio, who's 300-plus pounds at 6'7", play inside, batting down balls from smaller quarterbacks like Bryce Young and the rest of these guys. I would love to see that happen for the Saints' interior defense. He adds to that interior defensive line, man, that'll be big. And, of course, other guys that were on the practice squad last year is Jabari Zuniga, who the Saints picked up. He was a former Jet player, didn't see much burn with the Saints, mostly on practice squad. And, of course, Nico Lalos, who was with the Saints, I think it was last year. I think it was last year or the year before that. He was a guy the Saints brought in, big guy, 6'6", 6'7", very athletic. Where does he fit? Mostly we see him as a squad guy there. So these are some of the battles. But the defensive end battle, to me, seems to be the battle that really probably outside of the battle between, say, a guy like Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo for the CB2 spot, those guys battling for the D2 spot. That's interesting. All right, James, shout out to brother James, man. He says, what's good, Q? I think the tight end, DB, and wide receiver is going to be a dogfight for all those positions. Too much talent and pieces in those areas. Granderson and Turner will turn up because of Foskey and Cam. Hey, Foskey, great point, bro. Shout out to my dog, B Jizzle. Yeah, you look at it, man. Isaiah Foskey, man. He definitely gonna be putting some heat on those guys to step up. So Payton Turner is getting a bit of a pressure cooker, isn't he? Because a lot of people know how good Carl Granderson is. Is he ready for prime, like more of a bigger role? That's the question. We know he can rush. We know he can rush the passer. We know Carl can play the run. We know that, but is he ready for a bigger role as opposed to the reserve role that he's been going through over the last several years? That's the thing with Carl Granderson, right? We know he can do the regular stuff, but can he do it consistently? If his role increases, that's the question for him. Payton Turner is, can he stay healthy? Each one of these guys have questions on why they can see that. We know if Payton Turner stays healthy, that Payton Turner is going to be a guy you have to watch out for. The question mark for him is health. Can he remain healthy? Because we know when Payton Turner, you can't take that away from, when Payton Turner plays, he plays well. He plays well. He's in there getting pressure. He knocking, he's a force when he plays, but playing, that's a big thing. And, of course, Isaiah Foskey is you're right on him, Brother James. So, shout out to you. All right, so, anyway, Brother DeWright, what's up, DeWright? He said, I'm looking for D-Jack to be something special. Okay, DeMarc, yeah, thank you for that. All right, shout out to you on that. All right. All right, Quaveda says Saints should run the NASCAR pack. Yes, indeed, bro. Yes, man, the NASCAR package, bro. Man, you're so right, man. With all that the Saints have, we talking about Brian Breesy, what he does, and Nate Shepard, viciousness, these fighting ass interior defensive linemen that we have. I can see what the Saints were doing because they got guys like interior D. Even if you watch guys like Jack Heflin, the guy they picked up, and Jaron Cage, these guys all have it was a template that the Saints were emulating for these new signees when they brought these guys to the team. It's like, okay, listen, every one of these guys got to be a fighting ass, high motor, energetic, athletic interior guy that fight for every blade of grass, like the old saying says. And you look at the tape on these guys, that's how they play. So they did a template and they know what they were looking at. So if you have that on the inside, the Saints obviously were saying, man, we need more push from the interior defensive line. Imagine what that looks like. Just use your great Saint think tank, Who Dat Nation imagination for a second, and imagine what that looks like when you have Nate Shepard and Colin Sanders, Brian Breesy, and guys like that providing a push from the interior defensive line with Cam and Grand and Foskey and Payton Turner on the outside coming in. There's no way for you to run. There's nowhere for you to hide. It is very difficult to defend. Like if you're a team that's from a defensive standpoint that's good at pushing the interior offensive line in the quarterback's face, there is nowhere for the quarterback to go, especially if you pushing inside, flushing the quarterback out to the edges where your ends are, game over. And then they don't only do that, but they pressure. If you watch the footage, they do the same for the run too. Matter of fact, Shepard, this dude I seen several plays with him disrupting stuff in the backfield, like pushing linemen into it. He was double teamed a lot of times on the film, and he was still able to cause problems with the integrity of the lanes for the opposing offensive line. That's what these guys do. When you play against guys like that, they just destroy the integrity of running lanes for the opposing offense. They do. And they'll bring that type of ferocity to the interior of the defensive line. So you getting pushed from inside the line. That's a whole nother element to the defense. That's a whole nother element. And matter of fact, the happiest man on the defense for this year is going to be actually two of them. It's going to be our inside linebackers, Demario Davis and Pete Werner. Them two dudes will be ecstatic. They're going to be so happy because last year they got pushed out of there because we wasn't doing the same thing. But it's different when the five offensive linemen have to account for the four defensive linemen. If five got to deal with four, that is a win every time. That allows Demario and Pete to roam around, selectively blitz if they need to. They covering up passing lanes, getting to where they need to be. It's a whole nother element of disruption. When you have your front four and they opposing five have to eat up all them four. When they have to account for four guys, that is something. That's what Kalen Saunders is here. You cannot single block Kalen Saunders. He's just too violent. He's too violent. Matter of fact, Breesy and Shepard, them guys are super violent, man. Anyway, watch. Y'all, like I said, watch the damn film, man. Y'all gonna see, man. I watched a bunch of film on these guys. Man, like these dudes are tearing it up. These guys are super violent, man. They super aggressive. They fight every damn play, and you're gonna love that, man. I love that. We simply did not have that crap last year. Let me be honest with you on that. I love that. 504 Coach says, Q, do we really need to sign another defensive end? The more I look at this roster, the better I feel about it. Yeah, bro. Robert Quinn. I'll throw that out to you, fam. Robert Quinn. I'll throw that to you. I hear you, Pammy. I'm going to play it in a minute. I see you. I see you, Queen. All right, so, yeah. Well, Robert Quinn, bro. You know, hey, listen. Even though we know what Carl Granderson did, what he did over his career, that he could play the run, he could play the pass. He had 5.5 sacks just last year. We know Carl's special. It's a question mark. Can he do it in an amped up role? Can he do it as a starter? He did it as a role player, but can he do it as a starter? That's his question. Foskey is no question on Foskey. I think Foskey just needs to improve his technique, get a little bigger, get a little stronger. He's going to be something special for the Saints. Payton Turner is, can he stay healthy? That's a big if when you talk about the health of a player, because Payton Turner over the last several years have had injuries as well and hasn't seen the field to a degree, and it's stifling his development. You know what? To talk about a linebacker, Pete Werner, for a second. With the games that Pete Werner missed and how good Pete Werner looks when he does play, imagine how he would look if he wasn't hurt and he didn't miss all those games. Pete Werner would be on a whole nother level right now. If he gets those hot game reps. But the same thing with Payton Turner. Payton Turner is strong. He's fast. He is disruptive when he's there. But that's a big question is, can he beat the injury bug and stay out there? And then, of course, the Saints, that's the issue is the injury bug. And if injuries start to mount up, then what you do? you know? So if that's indeed the case, you could kind of move guys around if you see fit. But if Robert Quinn, let's say if Quinn is there, right, and he's a free agent, and if you're able to land a Robert Quinn and you bring him onto the team, Robert Quinn opposite of Cam Jordan, Cam has consistently speaking, you give Cam the compliment of Robert Quinn, it can only help your young guys because Quinn is a really good player. Quinn is like a Cam type player. These guys are high level pass rushers and run stuffers as well. They do a good job equally, both respected. So if you can get a Robert Quinn for a year along with Isaiah Foskey and a Payton Turner, that's a plus to me, right? I don't think it stifles their development. And overall, you can never have too many pass rushers, man, because when those injuries start hitting up, man, you can't lose your pass rushing element. You know what I mean? So Robert Quinn would be the guy I would throw out. I don't think you get I don't think you get your boy Yannick Ngakoue. I don't think we get him because he's going to want a lot of money. And Robert Quinn, I think, will probably be a better fit for the Saints in terms of them adding him, and he just stick and play like a plug-and-play type player opposite of Cam. Could you imagine having Cam Jordan on one side, Robert Quinn on the other, and then your reserves are Carl Granderson, Isaiah Foskey, and Payton Turner? Imagine that. Imagine that. You won't talk about a defense. He had 40-something odd sacks last year. As a whole, the Saints did. Could you imagine a rotation that includes Cam Jordan with Robert Quinn starting, and then you have Carl Granderson, Isaiah Foskey, and Payton Turner up under him? Man, that is insane, man. One dude changes it all, don't he? But yeah, I'm with you on that 504 code, man. It's interesting, but boy, that would definitely put you over the top. All right, indeed, man. I love that, man. But that good idea, Quavedis, man. That NASCAR, I would love to see that NASCAR package, man. That NASCAR. Yeah, I got you, Pam. And Pam said, "Hey, Q, you got to play the song for me." Who are you talking about, girl? She said, "Is it who? Oh, for Payton Turner." Oh, Pam said, "Yeah, for him, you gotta play the song for me, Q." All right, baby. There you go. I got you. I don't know about Clowney, JT. I would prefer more Quinn than I would do of Clowney, man. I'm really played out on the Clowney, man, for real. All right, so anyway, fam, what other questions we got? It'll be Lanyap. I think Pam said it'd be Lanyap, and some people said it'd be overkill. No such thing, fam. You can never have too many pass rushers, especially in the NFL. If somebody get hurt, it changes that dynamic. Like if Payton Turner, let's say, playing really well and he has a setback, that you're down one pass rusher, who replaces Payton Turner in your lineup? You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're not dealing with guys that's like that, you know, that don't exhibit that. Like Payton Turner's main thing is his injury issue. If he falls out of the lineup, who replaces his production? You know, we say Isaiah Foskey steps in, but if Isaiah Foskey's a part of the rotation to a degree, you know what I'm saying? Because the whole idea is Cam's going to do his thing, but the Saints don't want to overwork Cam Jordan, right? We don't want to overwork or overdo it for Cam. We got to give Cam an opportunity to get his reps, but also be rested so he can stay, productive. So the biggest question on opposite side is who combos with him. If you bring Quinn in there, that just fortifies everything. Because you have Carl, you have Isaiah, you have Payton Turner, and you'll have all these guys. And then you can have a fire-ass NASCAR package when you throw guys in there to do this, that. I mean, it just adds so much more to the imagination of the Saints defense, what they can be able to do with it. That's why I'm like, and then Robert Quinn won't break the bank. He'll be a plug-and-play player for you that can come in and help you. And it's an extra pass rusher that the younger pass rushers, an accomplished veteran pass rusher like a Cam Jordan, that they can all learn from and they can improve upon it. So I think it'll be a special deal, but I don't know if the Saints are seeing it like that. Like, man, listen, let's bring in this guy. I don't know if they see it like that. They might be like chilling with that. Well, right now, they hadn't brought anybody in, right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't do it, but they could be just chilling. Like we talked about Zach Bourne. Why you ain't got a linebacker here? Q a vet. They might be feeling like, hey, man, Zach Bourne, Caden Ellis did that last year. Zach Bourne could do that this year. That could be their mindset. They could be feeling Zach Bourne like a lot more than what we are. We like, man, I don't see what you see right now. I like Zach Bourne, don't get me wrong. But, he has to prove it to himself because he's not done it on that level that he can play consistently for the Saints in that role. And then you got DeMarco Jackson, guys like that beating down the block following him. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. I don't know. JT said he might want too much money. We'll see, bro. I don't think Clowney. I don't know if Clowney commanding that kind of money, because this ain't the same Clowney that you seen several years ago when the Saints were trying to go and get him, right? This ain't the same Clowney. And then, that we seen. So, I'm looking at the top 3 ends that's available, and I like Quinn more so because I think Quinn fits better. I think he'll cost you, won't cost you what a Yannick Ngakoue will cost you to get. And I think he's, at this stage of his career, even though I like Yannick Ngakoue, I think Robert Quinn is a better fit for the Saints from a financial standpoint and a plug-and-play situation. So, I mean, this is all speculative. We don't know if they're going to decide to do a Robert Quinn, bring him in, or even a Quan Alexander for the linebackers. The Saints could just hang back with what they got, We'll just be observing it. All right. JT said, I think we need 4 of our draft choices play this year and 2 free agents. Thank you, Brother James says, I think defensive end will be a strength for us, Q, especially if Breesy and other new defensive tackles step up for us. Teams are not used to us having disruptive, athletic defensive tackles that will help Cam, Passing Foskey, and Granderson. Indeed, bro. Reginald says Granderson, Jordan, Breesy, Turner, NASCAR. Oh, man. Bro, like I said, man, the thing is, too, like the rotation, like we talk about the NASCAR package, but your standard defensive rotations, right? If you got, and we seen this prior to last year when the Saints defense like imploded. Like we weren't solid up the middle. We had Passing Shy Tuttle, and Kentavia Street. That was not good. Now, David Onyemata deciding to go to Atlanta. If David Onyemata decided to stay with the Saints and the Saints brung in, say, a Kalen Saunders, imagine what that would have looked like. But we knew the template for the Saints defense. They wanted more aggressive, big, high motor guys to come in there and do something. That most certainly will not be the issue for the Saints pending injury. Like if guys can stay healthy and just do what they did last year, like even a small service size of what we see. Because Kalen Saunders is going to start. That's your nose tackle. It's a competition between Brian Breesy and Nate Shepard. That's one we're not talking about. I mentioned it in the show, but that's another competition. It's like, does Breesy beat out Shepard? He says he's healthy from his own mouth and ready to go. So that's a very good battle that we're not talking about too. And that is a very solid rotation either way. Like Breesy's first round guy. But imagine Brian next to Kalen Saunders, those high motor athletic guys, and then Shepard's filling in rotational with Malcolm Roach, who's also the same type of dude. It's interesting to see here. And like I said, the question mark is Passing. Where does Passing fit? Is he a 5th defensive end or a 4th defensive tackle? You see what I'm saying? I could see him as a 5th defensive rotational end if you use him in that way. But that's why I was saying I'm thinking him more inside than outside, because he's the 5th best pass rusher you have, right? If you look at it, because even if Carl Granderson wins the starting job outside of Cam Jordan and they don't bring in anybody, and they still have Payton Turner and Isaiah Foskey, each one of those dudes pick a guy to go by. Yeah, Carl, it'll be that. Like you might have Carl Granderson wins the job opposite of Cam Jordan, other end position. Well, Foskey's going to back up Carl, and Payton will back up Cam, or vice versa. You see what I'm saying? Depending on what the defensive coordinator wants to do with the position. But both of those guys, no doubt about it, will end up one behind Cam, one behind Carl. If that's the case, you see, if that's the case, then that still makes Passing a 5th defensive end on the team. So you sign him back to be a 5th defensive end? Yes and no, because I see him more as, I don't, unless injury impact the defensive end position, he's a 5th defensive end. There's nobody else challenging him for that position. Because you got Jabari Zuniga and Nico Lalos. I don't see him beating out Passing, who's a veteran there. So he's your 5th defensive end, right? And what does he play? And I would say Passing is probably your 4th best defensive tackle. That's why I keep saying that I see him playing. Because if you look at it the way they got Pens, they got Roach right there. But I'm saying to myself, man, Passing, they signed him back to that deal. They gave him that money to be a 5th defensive end alone. He will see rotation because he's your 4th best defensive tackle on the team. And Roach sits behind him. Some people like Roach more than Passio, but from a veteran standpoint, 6'7", 300+ pounds, you will see him fitting inside. So he'd be your fourth guy as opposed to your fifth defensive end, your fourth defensive tackle. You see where I'm going? So that's why I'm seeing Passio, I'm seeing him more inside than outside. You see? That's my logic. And we'll see if that all makes sense once the season starts, but that's how I view it. And maybe that's why we don't see another veteran defensive tackle there. We see guys like Jeff Heflin, Emilio Prince, and Jaron Cage. These are guys that hadn't really done anything. I'm saying the Saints are taking a gamble with these guys. We need a defensive, a veteran interior defensive lineman. I think Passanio's that dude. That's what I was saying. So you replace, well, they got Malcolm Roach there. You can flip-flop Passanio right there. Roach slides down back. But I think those guys makes team. A lot of those other guys going to end up on the practice squad. But I think Passanio is the tackle. That's my logic. All right, so anyway, with that being said, JT said I think we need 4. Okay, shout out to JT. Thank you. All right. Yeah. You're absolutely right there, bro. You're right on that. Rose says them Falcons on the Falcon fans on Big Low talking about winning the Super Bowl. Wait, bro, listen, bro. Everybody right now can just do that. I hear my brothers at the PNP camp talking, big game, they talking. All of the family bases are excited about what could potentially be getting ready for the season to get to going. You know, this is when a lot of them start talking all, you know, they feeling good. And we know, when we were talking to Lo last time, I said, Lo, I see what you're trying to do. This is what your team is trying to do. They're trying to create a Pittsburgh Steelers team minus the 3-4 defense, right? What they're trying to do is they're trying to create they spent $100 million or whatever it is, $100+ million on their defense. That's because the defense is supposed to be the thing that leads the team. The defense is supposed to be the strongest unit. They've invested into their running attack. They had Bijan Robinson there along with Tyler Algieri. And they got big wide receivers all over the place. They got a big old tight end. They got Jonnu Smith. They can bring in the 2 tight end sets. So this is nothing new. What they're trying to do is they're trying to be a run-first team that plays defense. That's like old school football. That's what Arthur Smith is. Our former offensive lineman believes in running the ball and playing defense. That's his game. So he had Bijan Robinson there along with Tyler Algieri. Got them big wide receivers that any quarterback with a modicum of accuracy could just put the ball in their vicinity, and they have a massive catch radius. So they're big physical guys that high point the ball. So if you put the ball, that's the game. That's the game plan for the Falcons. So they built up their defensive line. You know, they got players there. They got their linebackers there. They got some people in the secondary. They spent some money there. They spent a lot of money on that defense because they're going to run the ball and play defense. That's what they're doing. And turn the quarterback and more into like a game manager, which kind of lends itself to his skill. Because when he was in college, the brother really not scouted him. He played like 40-something odd games in college. He played a lot of ball for Cincinnati, their quarterback. And he's a guy that don't make a lot of mistakes. So if they're using him as a game manager, that's what they're going to lend itself to by using a power running game and playing defense. That's what the Falcons are turning it into. Now, studying a team, I said, what's the Achilles heel to that? From an outside perspective, from a black and gold man, the Achilles heel, because I studied the Falcons. I studied what they're doing. What's the Achilles heel to beating the Falcons? Was it a problem? Problem with the Falcons is the head coach. He lacks offensive imagination. That's the problem. And it could be very, very predictable. The guy is very predictable. And he makes some very curious and downright insane decisions inside the red zone at times. Study their team. I scouted Carolina. I scouted the Panthers. The Falcons, and the Bucs. I got to because that's our team in the NFC South. So I know them more than I know anybody else. Even though I still put the same work in on everybody's team if I gotta fight them. We gotta play them. But yeah, that's the problem with the Falcons. Like the Arthur Smith, not Arthur Smith. Yeah, Smith, the head coach, he's a guy that lacks offensive imagination. He does. So he's predictable. So you just have to kind of feed into that, you know what I'm saying? But they got a really interesting squad. A lot of former Saints there. They know what they're doing. If they're gonna be better than what they were last year, only because They got Terry Fontenot over there, former Saint man. You got Ryan Nielsen, former Saint man. You got David Onyemata, former Saint man. You got Caden Ellis, former Saint man. You go on and on. Over there helping them people win. So whatever success you have, and I said this when they first signed Fontenot, whatever success the Atlanta Falcon family members have over there, it's going to be due to the fact that New Orleans Saints people had to help them go over there and win. That's right, Count Dracula. Yeah, that's right, Count Dracula, man. Count Dracula. But yeah, man, that's the real deal. That's the real deal, man. So anyway, we're gonna be good. All right. So anyway, shout out to the fam, man. James says Quine's better than nothing. Q. They could get him in the building and have a solid familiar talent ready to step up in case DeMario or Pete get hurt. I'm wondering how Taysom role fits with all the tight ends. Taysom Hill, is he really a tight end? I questioned that before. That's right, Professor Ryan Pace, black and gold. These people have this is the delusion. The delusion of these people, man. They are shamelessly. Listen, the Saints, we're going to talk about rivals. Without a shadow of a doubt, the Falcons are the Saints' most hated rivals going east. Going west is the Cowboys. But the Falcons are the most hated Saints rival in all of history. Now, at one point, it was the 49ers who's going to, then things changed. It used to be the 49ers. You still get them games when we play the 49ers, you get that old energy there. You still feel that tense energy between the two franchises with all those battles that used to be back in the day. You feel it more with the 49ers. You feel it a little bit with the Rams, you see. But the Falcons, man, that is by far the most heated rivalry in terms of the Saints. And you mean to tell me they are going to come to the Saints, their most hated rival, and say, hey, man, listen, man, y'all been kicking our ass for years, man. Y'all been busting us up for years, making fun of us. You know, let me hire you, man, bro. Let me hire you. Count Dracula came over here and bit. Count Dracula came over here and he bit Terry Fontenot on the neck and turned him into a zombie. Now Terry, when he covered in red and black, he bit Ryan Nielsen. They brought him up there and he bit him. You know, he turned him into a zombie. So you got all of these former Saint people, that David Onyemata and all these other guys that's up there is playing for the Falcons. That's out there in the front. And Ryan Pace, thank you, Professor. Shout out to the Professor. All these people in Count Dracula's domicile over there. And you know what's even crazy, fam? Remember, they took the name off our building. You had two stadiums in the NFL called the same thing. That's crazy. It took the name off the building. Man, we was still in Mercedes-Benz Dome or whatever we was, and then y'all the Mercedes-Benz built a dome. We the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. What? You couldn't have picked another person to put the name on that? So they want everything you got, fam. They want it all. You know what I'm saying? They want it all, family. They want it all. You know? They want it all, man. And they finally went, and listen, you're going to finally get enough Saints people where you're going to turn good. You finally going to finally get enough Saints people where you're going to finally be good. You're going to finally get enough Saint people in your building. You're going to finally turn into good. Come on now. You're going to finally get enough Saints in your building where you're going to turn into a good team. Think about it. That's what they're doing. Man, ain't nowhere in the world that we plucking that many people from our rivals, man. I mean starters and decision makers. Come on now. Man, what was the last really good Atlanta Falcon person we took from them, man? Was it Curtis Lofton? When was the last time, fam? This is a question I'm gonna get off of this. When was the last player that the Saints got from the Falcons? Because remind me, it might have slipped my mind. Professor, what do you think? What was the last good Atlanta Falcon player that we got from them people that was a actual a player that played, that was a starter that actually impacted the field? When was the last? What, Curtis Lofton? Or Chris, whatever his name is, Lofton, the linebacker? Was he the last dude that actually was impactful? We don't go there and take people from our rivals like that, especially the Falcons. The Falcons shamelessly pilfer people from us like, we got him. We got your guy now. We got your guy now. We gonna win now. Right, Professor said, you know how long ago that was? We don't do that. We don't need to do that because we know how to find players. We can take guys that are undrafted guys and turn them into starters. We don't have to go and pilfer players, coaches, decision makers, administrators. Count Dracula got to invite you over there into his mansion and bite you on the neck or the arm and turn you into an Atlanta Falcon. That was going on. Count Dracula over there biting them and turning them into zombies, man. And now they won't wear red all day. Man, I know it got to be Lofton. Lofton was the last dude that the Saints got from. We don't go over there looking at people. And truth be told, all of our best people leave and go to the Falcons because they be mad at the Saints. That's what happens. They be mad at the Saints. They go to the Falcons. Think about it. They be mad. Martin Anderson was mad at the Saints. He went to the Falcons. The Saints was supposed to pay Martin Anderson. He wanted the payday. Saints said, "Oh, you getting old," and he went there and kicked against the Saints and actually beat them. Bobby Hebert said that. Bobby Hebert said that he wanted to beat the Saints. That's why he went out there. He said that. When he went and became a Falcon, his main goal was to beat the Saints. Hebert said that. Joe Horn, all them guys, that's what they do. They leave the Saints to go to the Falcons to get back at the Saints because they believe they should have got a payday. We shouldn't have let them go. You know? They mad at you for that, but you don't see that going in reverse. You don't see that trend going in reverse. You don't see us going to Atlanta to get decision makers or get players or people from their scouting department. You don't see that. The crazy part about it is you get our players, you get our administrators, you get all the decision makers, and then they think in their heads. Listen to the Falcon family. Now listen to what I'm saying. I'm not hating on you, but I just want you to understand that when you take Saints people into your building, enough of us, you're going to start winning. But the problem is that we know who you got in the building and we know how to defeat them. We got the scouting report on them. So we know how to beat your team because the guys that you got on your team came from our team. So we know. It's crazy. Y'all are crazy if you think you're going to have anything to do with this. Only way you beat the Saints is the Saints slipping on Sunday that day. That's the only way. That's the only way you going to, you see what I'm saying? Man, that isn't, we know how to beat you. Well, we ready for the Saints this year, fam. You are delusional. Your guys used to work for our guys. We let those guys go over there. And another caveat to it too, family, to give you spin another level to this, is we let them guys go over there because we must have felt like we could do better without those guys. That those guys couldn't help us win no more than what they did already. Or we had more, or we had better guys behind those guys. You get what I'm saying? Case in point, we did let Fontenot walk, and I was kind of upset about that, but look who we got behind him. Look who we got behind him. Remember, Fontenot was trying to take, well, I'm going to leave it alone. I ain't going to even sprinkle game. I ain't trying to give them because they'll take it back to, or Lord take it back and tell Fontenot. But we got the game on y'all, man. You can't take all them Saints people into your building and think that you're going to beat the Saints. Crazy. Crazy people. All right. Shout out to Eugene, man. Shout out to you. Appreciate you being here, man. Shout out to you. They crazy folks. Crazy. Wallace says we had got one of the Atlanta Falcons running back. Forgot the, oh, you talking about Freeman? Freeman? Not Freeman. You talking about that dude was, bro. Freeman was washed when we got him, bro. I'm talking about a playmaker, like a guy that impacts the game, that type of dude. You know, the last time you got an impact player from the Falcons that came in, started games, won games, that dude. From my recollection, the last time we got a good dude from the Falcons was Lofton, the linebacker. That was years ago. We got Lofton, Curtis Lofton from the Falcons. And he played pretty decently for us in the inside linebacker position for a couple of years. So, yes, that's the last time, and that was years ago. We don't go to no Falcons looking for no starters. All right, anyway, man. Abbott says, I remember back in 06, they took, I remember. See, I said Horn, Martin Anderson, Bobby Hebert. You know, Tyler Davison was junk anyway. When we left Tyler Davison, he was junk. He ain't do, you know what I'm saying? He had that one game good against the Saints, that one game, that time when it was the game when Drew Brees forced his way back against the Cardinals, because he was supposed to wait a game and then come back against the Falcons. He forced his way back in the Cardinals game, beat the Cardinals, and then laid an egg against the Falcons. Remember that game? Tyler Davison was in that game and was playing his ass off on that line. That probably was his best game of his professional career. His best game. But Tyler Davison was junk. We let Tyler Davison go because he was junk. I'm sorry to say that to Tyler Davison. You was junk, bro. That's why we let you go. Right. Freeman was washed when we got him. Freeman was washed, bro. Freeman was washed. He wasn't nobody doing nothing for us in no competitive starting level. I'm talking about like what they getting from us, what they getting from David Onyemata, what they gonna get from him. What they get, you see what I'm saying? Like they get guys like veterans that we groomed into starters, Caden Ellis. They getting starters that are gonna make their team better. We don't go over there getting them from them. We don't get nothing from them. They come over. It's a one-way street. It's a one-way street. Pamela says, Q, we don't go to the trash can looking for treasures. That's right. Abby said those clowns took Jumpy Gathers back. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, Tramal says, Q, we did get Ashley Ambrose first, or did he go to the Falcons first? No, we got Ambrose first, bro. Hold on, because Ambrose, if my great Saint Think Tank memory serves me, Ashley Ambrose came from Cincinnati to the Saints and then to the Falcons. Let me look it up, though. Give me a second, because that's a good one. I don't want to get this wrong. But I want to say, if my memory serves, Ashley Ambrose came from the Bengals. If I'm not mistaken. Hold on, let me make sure. And y'all correct me in the chat. Is Ashley Ambrose came from hold on, let me look it up. He came from the Bengals to the Saints to the Falcons. Hold on, let me see. Now, he was with the Colts. Okay, so he started off with the Colts. He played 4 years with the Colts from 92 to 95. Then he was with the Bengals from 96 to 98. He played 1 year with the Saints, which is 99. Then Atlanta took him and he played 3 years with the hold on here. He can't, yeah, matter of fact, hold on here. Because it looked like he came back to the Saints. Did he come back? Yeah, he came, according to this, hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Because he spent 1999 with the Saints. Hold on here. Let me get this right. I want to say, hold on, because they're showing me something else here. Hold on. Let me make sure I get this right. Because Ashley showing him, he started with the Colts. Hold on. Let me get it right. Because they're showing it like Ashley Ambrose was with the Saints. Then he left the Saints, went to the Falcons for 3 years, and then came back to the Saints. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me get it right. You know I got to get it right here. Hold on, y'all. Let me look. Hold on. Let me see. Career. They ain't showing me nothing on them. NFL.com ain't hitting on nothing, man. Hold on. I'm trying to. Y'all make sure I'm right here, man. Because what I'm getting is, hold on. Oh, yeah. Well, Colts. Yeah. Yep. It's the same thing. Yeah. Pro Football Archive says, yeah, that he was with the Colts for 4 years. Then he was with the Bengals for 4 years. He went to the Saints in he came to the Saints in 99. He wore number 43 for the Saints in 99. Then he left the Saints and went to the Falcons for 3 years. Then he came back to the Saints in 03 and 04. That's what happened. So So I guess you're right. But does that count that we had him before they had him? So does it count that we had him before they had? That don't count, bro. We got that. That was a good one, but we got to throw that one out. We got to throw that one out because we had him before they had him, and he came back to us and finished his career. He finished his career with the Saints in 2004. So that don't count. That don't count. But you see, so that's showing you that that's what they do. They've been pilfering our guys. They just being more brazen with it. They just look at the Saints and say, man, what they doing today? Let me see bro, that's crazy. We're not doing that. We're not looking at you saying, man, I wonder if I can get that administrator there. Yeah, man, Man, I'll tell you what, as soon as that defensive coordinator open up, we're going to get that guy. Oh, man, listen, man, let me tell you something, man. We're going to get that linebacker. That defensive tackle, we're going to get that defensive tackle too. Man, wait till that runner. You see what I'm saying, bro? We don't sit up here looking at you. These people. Bro, I'm sorry I went through the whole spiel about that. I'm sorry, fam. That's right. Ab said it took Willie Jackson too. Man, bro, listen. Jarrell, shout out to you, bro. I'm sorry I went on this whole Falcons thing, fam, at the end of the show. But it's just true. I'm like, hitting me, man. I'm like, man, how y'all sitting up here thinking y'all going to beat the Saints, Falcon people? You know, and I'm just keeping it real. You know, I love y'all. You know, I love what we got going on here. But, you know, how y'all think y'all going to beat us with us? I'm laughing because it's crazy. It's crazy. How you going to beat us with us and we know them people? You know? Hell, listen, even with David Onyemata, family, even with the David Onyemata signing, fam, it was like less than 24 hours. The Saints had two new fam. Bro, listen, even when David Onyemata, the Saints knew they was going to lose David Onyemata. They said they wanted to re-sign him, but when David Onyemata left, the Saints had two new interior defensive tackles within 24 hours. Y'all remember that? Fam, y'all remember that? I'm like, damn. I thought David Onyemata, the Saints seen something in David Onyemata they didn't want. I'm telling y'all. Caden Ellis, that's different because that was priced out of their pocketbook. They wasn't gonna get that kind of money for Caden Ellis, and he was not. You know, you got Pete Werner there, but the reality is like they know something about David Onyemata because the 24 hours, it was less than 24 hours. They had both Kalen Saunders and Nate Shepard. They had two guys to replace them guys within 24 hours. So they know something about David Onyemata. Maybe we got the most out of David Onyemata. I didn't see him last year. He looked really bad. Like, and he was pushed. I never seen him get pancaked. Like I seen him get pancaked last year. He was getting pushed out of there. He couldn't hold his double team. He wasn't getting no push inside. The Saints seen something, say, you know what? We done turn you from a raw ass defensive tackle to something. You know, it's time to let you go. And they didn't fight about it. When he left, they had two new guys in there less than 24 hours later. So they know something. So whatever we turning over to the Falcons, we're not scared of it. We're not scared because you got Onyemata or Caden Ellis. We know those guys. We know what their limitations are. We do. You know, we know who they are. We've studied them. We know those guys. We know who Ryan Nilsson is. We know his limitations as well. I'm not saying that y'all not going to win. Y'all going to be better than what you were last year because you have more Saint people on your team. Oh, man. I'm sorry. I went off for these people. I'm sorry, y'all. Reginald says, watch out for Big Lord. Yeah. I know somebody going to take this to him, man. They always do, man. They got some Falcon family members in here listening right now. They said, "Lo, they talk about us over there." I know, brother. Yeah, I know, Professor. Carolina did the same thing. I clown my PNP brothers about that. I said, man, what is going on here? Everybody wants to be the Saints. Yeah, man, we don't care. We just want to win. So you don't care about, honor or or morals? You would cast all your morals and everything that you are that makes you who you are to the win so you can win? Is that what this is? So we going to sell out all the good stuff about us just so we can pick up a dub. So we gonna be like, yeah, man, we the hell with all this, man. We with Panthers keep pounding or whatever. With Saints players everywhere. You know? We with Saints players, we gonna beat y'all this time. Well, we swept y'all last year, fam. Panthers swept the Saints last year because the Saints played crappy. No disrespect to Carolina. We had both those games. Both those games, we had them, just like we had both them Tampa Bay games. The NFC South was for the Saints. That was pure incompetence on the Saints' part. Coaching and otherwise, all of that. Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, all of that. It was pure incompetence why the Saints didn't win the NFC South last year. The division was for them. We had both Carolina games and both those Tampa Bay Buccaneers games. Should have swept the division. Should have swept it last year. Put one in the chat if you agree with me on that. Y'all watch them games. We sit up here on this channel live because I do them live, them games every damn Sunday, Thursday, whenever they come on. Live for 3 and 4, 5, 6 hours. I'm up here, sit up here going play by play on the game, pre-game, during game, and after game. We sit up here and watch every last one of those games. And in the Carolina game, their first game they lost was to Matt Rule. Matt Rule don't beat nobody. And the Saints lost to Matt Rule? He don't beat nobody. They lost. That's pure incompetence. And then the second time around they lost, that was pure incompetence. They had both those games in their hands and gave them up. Both of those were wins and games they should have won. Also, like the Tampa Bay games, both of those were wins. Both those games were wins. Should have been a sweep factory. It should have been nothing but brooms everywhere being manufactured yesterday. And then, last year in the NFC South. Should have been a damn broom factory. Broom sweeping every damn where. Should have been everywhere. It should have been Broom City last year in the NFC South for the Saints. Pure incompetence by the head coach and his subordinates. Just total dysfunction and foolishness all last year while we ain't win the NFC South. Bottom line, I'm saying it. So when we take a look at what these teams are doing to get better, they're taking your players and putting them in their team and saying we're going to beat you with your players. How? We don't relinquish players unless we feel like we're done with them. Like they done gave us the best. Think about it. Saints groomed and created David Onyemata. They bet on him when they had Sheldon Rankins out there. Sheldon Rankins overall from a talent perspective was a first-round draft pick. We took David Onyemata out of Canada with a 4th-round selection. And he was groomed by the Saints into a starting-level interior defensive tackle. Last year, he fell apart. Him and Shy Tuttle, another undrafted. He was an undrafted guy we built up from nothing into something. And now you got to pay Dave with Carolina. That's Saints. That Saints did that. That's what we do. We take undrafted guys and raw-ass people and turn them into something. They just got to have the will to compete and do what we want you to do, and you're going to win. That's what kind of environment this is. But we the ain'ts and all this other kind of stuff, but everybody coming over here taking your people from you. Talking about we're going to beat you with your people. You can't beat us with people that's not on the team no more. We let them go. We let them go over there. And when we let you go, obviously feel that you're not going to be a threat to us. Now listen, I talk about their Achilles heel. Let me talk about ours, because I can't say nothing about them people until I talk about my team. And I talk about my team. So I'm not going to say, but hoist the Saints. The Achilles heel for the Saints is Dennis Allen. Just like we talk about Arthur Smith with his non-imagination on offense, limited imagination, very predictable. That's his stuff. Your Achilles heel, Black and Gold Nation, is Dennis Allen. Is Dennis Allen. Is he a real head coach? What does he do differently? Stuff that I'm asking that I want my reporter friends to ask if they get close enough to him, to ask him, what did you do, Dennis Allen, that makes you a better coach? Don't talk about that now before you answer the question now. Don't say what we need to do better. I'm talking about just you. Pretend like you up there by yourself and you ain't with nobody. What did you as a person, as a head coach, learn yourself how to be a better head coach for the season? What are things that you're not going to do last year that you did last year that you're not going to do this year? Come on, talk about it. He don't talk like that. He don't say that because it's always we. And when I hear him say that, I say, when this dude joined the French nation, when he became French with all this we Monsieur talk here, what did you learn as an individual head coach, bro? That will not lead to losses last year that you was doing this past season. What have you learned? That is the question that I need answered. I need that answered. And when we get that answer, then we'll know exactly where we are as a team. That's true talk there. The greatest, that the Achilles heel to the Saints, it got nothing to do with the team on the field. It's the head coach and his development. How much better is Dennis Allen from last year to this year as a person, as a head coach? That's the question. Now, you get that goddamn answer, and you get that, you let me know. Because that will answer all your questions about how good this team going to be this year. Because it's still, even though you're loaded from the top to the bottom, it still ties to the quarterback, to the head coach, Dennis Allen, and his decision making. He picks the final 53. If you got offensive people there, he has the power to overrule what they're doing on the offense. He can impose his power there, even though he's remains out of the way. He can go over there if he wants to. He still wants to call the plays for the defense even though he has his own defensive coordinator. And he still, check the special teams, get on them, make them better. So that's my question. Like, it ain't no hating ass question, and it ain't disrespectful. The question is, how much better is Dennis Allen from last year to this year? And minus the team. We know the team is talented. The reason why the team is not being considered a Super Bowl team is because Dennis Allen sits on top of it. Now, before I go, family, let me play this, man. I went on my spiel about the Atlanta Falcons, but let me play this interview before I go. I had this thing tuned up, and then I started talking about the Falcons. Then we were going to get on out of here. Let's listen to this interview. Y'all do two things for me. Well, one thing for me. Please feel free, if y'all listen to the show, we're going to finish up with this. Please feel free to hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, smash on the subscribe button and join the Sports Coma, man. We're going to go over this. This is some expectations right here. This is called, as you can see, it says 5 crazy NFL predictions, according to Jason McIntyre, right? 5 crazy NFL predictions. This is crazy, now. Now, listen, 5 crazy. Number 1, Bills Super Bowl window closed. Rams are so bad they trade Aaron Donald. That's ridiculous. Bills Super Bowl, we know this how bad they look at it. Check this out. Bills Super Bowl window is not closed. That's obvious, right? Rams are so bad they're not going to trade Aaron Donald. The North is the best division in the NFC. They got the Saints win the NFC. That's crazy. You're crazy if you believe the Saints will win the NFC. You're crazy. And the Steelers make the AFC Championship game. Watch what Eric Mangini had to say about this. Listen, put one in the chat if y'all can hear this.
But just getting out of that division is going to be rough.
Yeah, just to start in the NFC, Eric, you look around and it's like the Eagles, okay, they got hurt. They did lose 2 coordinators. Maybe you could tell us what it's like to lose both your coordinators in an offseason. But I just look at the rest of the top of the NFC like McCarthy. His offensive coordinator's gone, and he's now calling plays. The 49ers have a big question at quarterback. I know everybody thinks, Brock Purdy, pencil him in. I mean, listen, the guy won 7 games. He was the last pick in the draft. Are we sure, coming off a major surgery, like that he's going to be the guy who takes him to the promised land? And then there's the Seattle stuff. And it just feels like chaos could happen in the NFC.
Yeah, that one I could see having some legs. I like Derek Carr, and I really am cheering for him. I think that he's better than the situations he's been in. And hopefully this fresh start will be really good for him. Now, the thing is, when he's had a new offensive coordinator, had to learn a new offense, it's typically not great that first season. But just reading the things that he's been doing there and the way that he's been working at it, and you can't get any more motivated than he is. He gives him a shot. He gives him a real shot. And you're right, the NFC in a lot of ways is wide open.
I mentioned that the Rams are going to be very, very bad. Eric, I looked out.
So there you go. That's Eric Mangini. We know Eric don't do the best predictions in the world, but I respect a lot of his commentary because he's analytical and he's like a straight shooter. I like some of the things that he does. But I just wanted to share this game with the family members that the Saints win the NFC. Win the NFC, not the South. But in order to win the NFC, you got to win the NFC South, correct? So, it's just amazing to me that when you have an opportunity to kind of look at some of this stuff and how the supposed media people see the Saints this year. And that's why I was saying to you, like Mangini says the NFC is wide open. Is it crazy to say the Saints win the NFC South? And if we look at the NFC, who Who are we scared of that we can't beat? You know? Seriously. Who's in the NFC that we scared of? That we gonna have problems with beating? Huh? Who are they? And that's the thing. What I'm saying, that's what I call the Dennis Allen factor. That's the Dennis Allen factor. Like you look at the NFC, they saying it's wide open. Philadelphia is there. San Fran is there. Minnesota, I don't think Minnesota's not going to be a 13-14 team, a 13-14 like they were. Like last year, they was blowing it away. Tampa Bay's not going to be, because this is the thing. Philadelphia is the team that a lot of people think will still be one of the top teams in the NFC. If we just analyze what's being said, right? The Eagles are obviously number one there because of the talent. They had a wonderful draft in free agent period. Jalen Hurts is still a guy. San Francisco, quarterback issues. Who's the QB? Can he reproduce that? They got issues. Is it Purdy? Could Purdy redo what he did last year? Could they have, what's the QB situation like with the San Francisco 49ers? The Vikings, I believe the Vikings are not going to be a 13-win team next year. I think the Vikings are going to fall a bit. You give up Cook and, you give up Danielle Hunter right now and wants out. Minnesota is definitely going to slide. Tampa's going to slide. They were the fifth team there that made it last year, 8-9. So, and then you got the Cowboys there. So how good are the Cowboys? And then other teams like the Giants. And then we talk about Seattle and all this kind of stuff, Detroit. And then it gets green, all this kind of stuff. But anyway, what I'm saying is, not to disparage anybody else's club, but I'm saying when you look at it from a perspective of the NFC, Saints will have to win the NFC South to be considered a top team in the NFC. So if we look at it, who's your real competition for the NFC crown? You look at it, the Eagles and the Niners. You got to throw the Cowboys in there. The Cowboys won 12 games last year. The Cowboys is there. Could the Giants improve? Detroit, is Detroit ready for a jump? And then every other team like Seattle, where's Seattle at? Is they, you got question marks like Seattle, Detroit, Washington, Green Bay is going to fall because Aaron Rodgers is not there anyway. Carolina, then they got the Saints and all these other clubs. Rams, could the Rams get back on their feet? The Rams look weak this year. Arizona, how they look at Chicago, 3 wins last year, could they improve? So Mangini says the NFC South, could be wide open. But you won't, but the thing is, the craziness and all this kind of stuff is crazy. Saints win the NFC is considered a crazy prediction. That is a crazy prediction for the Saints to win the NFC. It's the Dennis Allen factor. It is the Dennis Allen factor, I'm telling you. I shout out to Ramsey. Shout out. Yeah, I see you, fam. I was looking at some the other screen right there. I see you, bro. Shout out to you. Appreciate you being here, man. All right. Yeah. He said we should sweep the yeah, I'm just saying, we'll see. Yeah, Steve says lost to Baker Mayfield, and I was saying that I barely could stand watching those games. Like, it was so distasteful last year. I was so upset last year with the Saints. That was the most upset that I've been with the Saints in a very long time. And I watched a lot of shitty football from the Saints, but last year it was incredibly distasteful because a lot of the games the Saints were losing was because they weren't getting, they wasn't playing their hearts out and just losing because the other team was better. They were losing games because they were incompetent. They were losing games because they wasn't smart. They was losing games because they were stupid and sloppy. And that kind of brand of football infuriates me. That infuriates me that my team is stupid. That my team was false starting all over the damn place. Remember the false starts that'll back you up? You get a couple of drives, and then next thing you know, you're getting backed up to it. Remember the game we got backed up 3 times on false start penalties? The pre-snap infractions was ridiculous. That was a hallmark of a stupid, undisciplined team. Last year it infuriated me last year watching that type of football. And then at time you seen it was just brainless, it was gutless, And then you had this guy getting up on the podium. He didn't have no presence. Oh my goodness. It was just sickening, man. It was just sickening. So that's the whole point. It's the Dennis Allen factor. And people are like, well, Q, it's a different year. And I'm a thumbs up to my optimist people, to my people that got the positive outlook. Kudos to you. But from a lot of the Who Dat Nation, man, a lot of people are in this mind state. This is what they're gonna tell you when you need. When people come to you and say, hey, Q, Dennis Allen gonna clean that up and he gonna take us to the playoffs. People might not tell you, they might not sing the first part of it. Yeah. You might not do that part, but they're gonna tell your ass, show me. What's up, Colorado? Shout out to you. Yeah, it was terrible, man. That was listen. I want my club to win. But we have some questions at the top of the team that we haven't gotten yet. We got a lot of questions to answers to questions about the team. We got a lot of answers to questions, but when it comes down to the coach himself, we see all these new coaches there. We see what new coaches can do for him, but we don't know what he learned that was different from last year so that he don't do the same boneheaded stuff that he did last year. I almost feel to a degree they protecting him. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want you we don't want you to answer that question, man. Why not? I want to know. Did the man learn? That's a fair question. It's not disrespectful. Not disrespectful for me to ask Dennis Allen, hey, Dennis Allen, what are you going to do this year that you didn't do last year that contributed to the Saints losing these games? You lost 10 games last year. The last time we lost that many games was in 2005, man. That was the Katrina year, man. 2005. You know how that is a long time ago. How did you drop the ball that badly? And that team you had last year was better than the 9-7 team you had that Sean had that year. How did you go from 9-7 to, what are you going to do as a head coach that changes that dynamic? Fair question, bro. Fair. And I'm looking forward to that answer. Really, for real. For real. And please don't say we got to coach better or we this, that, and the third. I ain't talking about I'm talking about you. You the head coach. You the man. You tell me what you did. Did you take leadership courses? Did you go to leadership school in your off season? Did you study the film and say, you know what, I made a bad call this? Or do you have another person there that'll come in and that you are part of your decision-making process that'll help you make better decisions as a head coach? Sean Payton had him. He had, he had analysts next to him that he listened to, guys that he bring in, like Chaney. I remember he brought in Chaney, a guy that had like 30 plus years of college and NFL experience, to act as a analyst, a game analyst for him. And we asked him, well, what is he here, coach? And coach said, well, I have him to look over and make sure everything is together. Well, who's doing that for you? Is that Joe Woods? Is that Joe? I'm saying, how are you going to improve what you did? Because I want to know, because you wasn't very good last year. Well, we got better players. Yeah, but how does that impact? What does that mean to you? What are you gonna do? You're still the guy. You've never won more than 7 games in all of the years that you've been a head coach. What are you going to do that makes things different from what it was in your previous years, dysfunctional, losing ass years? What are you doing? Fair question, man. Very fair. Anyway, Darren Neek says, Coach, just defense. Just stay the hell away from. I'm with you on that, Darren Neek. Shout out to you. All right, so with that being said, let me get on up out of here, man. I done talked to the family members for 2.5 hours. I appreciate y'all letting me rant and rave and talk about the Falcon people. Yeah, that's always a good show when I get the opportunity to kind of punch on the Falcons, punch down on the Falcons. So y'all do me a favor, man. Y'all feel free to smack upon the like button. Shout out to all y'all, man. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all, man. Shout out to all y'all, man, for being in here, man. Y'all know anytime we can make fun of some Atlanta Falcon people, man, and and talk some football, black and gold. Y'all know it's been a good show. All right, so anyway, with that being said, fam, let me get out on there. Please feel free to strike upon the like button. Please feel free to join our email list. The links are in it. We got all these links, and shout out to the Streamlab bot doing its thing in there. We had to fine tune it. It was a little too aggressive. Yeah, the people had it set up too aggressive, man. So we had to temper it down a bit. Say, hey, man, you got to chill. Shout out to Streamlab bot. He doing this thing in there, putting the links together. Yeah, fam. So we got an email list link there. Y'all join the email list. It's very simple. You just go in there, you click the link and put your email where it says email, and then hit the subscribe button, and you're done. It's just that simple. We're building our email list for the Sports Coma, just to let the family members know it's our way of getting ahead of a lot of the non-notification issues that a lot of people are saying, telling me. I always get messages in the comment section and email to me directly that I didn't get my email and I didn't get my show notification. And man, I tell y'all, hit this, hit that, hit this, hit that. And I'm tired of telling you to hit this, hit that, hit this, hit that. So I'm telling you straight up, this is something with that we directly control. That way you will get your notifications, I promise you. So even if you are getting them, still sign the email list. Sign up for the email list, because we're also going to be doing shows that's not going to be on this platform. It'll be on our own website. This is our website you're looking at, thewhothatdaily.com. Cover Pelican stuff, boxing stuff, Saints stuff, all that. So that link is in that in the chat as well. So join the email list, and remember, also I'm gonna be sending out like specials and stuff for merch and all that, where you be able to get 50% off on merch and all that kind of stuff. We about to roll out some new merch coming up soon, and a lot of the merch. I mean, we got a lot of merch, man. We got several different shops, and we'll be rolling out like 50% discounts on it if you're part of the email list, and special show links where you can be able to catch up with and different things, man, that we'll be doing, especially with the email list. So join the email list, man. It's very simple to start. Antoinette, shout out to you, Queen. Appreciate you. With that being said, fam, I'm going to get out on it. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your night. I'm glad and appreciate you guys tuning in with me on this one. And I'm going to holler at y'all on the next show. Much love, and who that?
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports Coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the Sports Coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
whothatdaily.com. That's right, the whothatdaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, and even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, the whothatdaily.com is your site. The whothatdaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. Check out the Pro Shop. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to